Chapter 9:18. Chapter 9:18. To Chaos Demon see if Yishuin did not give mercy, He Yulong was already killed on the spot. Although He Yulong had already entered the Transcendent Realm's 6th level, he was outmatched by Yi Hong. He even had a significant gap with Chai Jianben. After 2 consecutive battles, Yi Zaiwen's strength had greatly improved. He had undergone growth, seemingly invincible at the Transcendent Realm's 6th level. Yi Zaiwen's question made Yu Cece flushed. She could not retort at all. At the spur of the moment, she went to Yi Zaiwen's question just now. After gaining back her rationality, she knew He Yulong was at fault in this situation, no matter what. It couldn't be helped. If He Yulong won just now, she could raise the narration that He Yulong had keen eyes and realizing that Yi Shiwen was a burden. The reality happened otherwise. He suffered a fatal injury in Yi Zaiwen's hands. In the end, it was him inflicting shame on himself. Impossible! Blood dripped at the corner of He Yulong's mouth. His eyes were filled with disbelief and shock. As a Transcendent Realm 6th level, he couldn't imagine that he would lose to a Transcendent Realm 3rd level warrior. It was simply impossible in his worldview. In his perception, Transcendent Realm 6th level was distinctive to Transcendent Realm 3rd level. There was a significant gap between both sides. One was Transcendent Realm Initial, and the other was Transcendent Realm Intermediate. The difference was like heaven and earth. However, he was unmatched to Yi Shiwen. Worse still, there was no intense battle. Yi Zaiwen defeated him utterly. He had no excuses for his defeat. It was what it was. His ambush on Yi Zaiwen's back did not change anything. The defeat was evident as it was. This tilted his inherent outlook on life. He had not suffered much damage due to Yi Zaiwen's mercy. What he found unacceptable was having nothing to fight back. On the other side, Xiong Ziqing's face was also ugly at this time. In any case, He Yulong was a member of his bear team, after all. He was beaten by outsiders and could not fight back. It brought shame to him. Captain Xiong, what is going on? Yao Qian stepped forward, staring at Xiong Ziqing, and said. Although she had a pleasant cooperation with the bear team before, what happened made her furious. He Yulong attacked from behind. It was despicable. Worse still, he was not attacking an enemy but a possible collaborator in the future. Excuse me, Yulong is just assessing this little brother's strength. After all, it is dangerous to enter the Chaos Demon Sea. If he is weak, he will only drag the whole team down. You have also entered once. So, I think you should be able to understand our caution. Xiong Jiqing sighed. He was well aware it was all because of Yao Qian. It was well known in the bear team that He Yulong liked Yao Qian. Yi Shiwen, the young man who appeared next to Yao Qian, became a thorn in his eye. After all, it was because he liked Yao Qian too much. But Captain Xiong wouldn't be able to say it out, so he grabbed an excuse. Yao Qian thought for a moment. It was not the first time that she came to Chaos Demon Sea. Naturally, she knew what kind of place Chaos Demon Sea was. It was indeed a dangerous place. If one were to be lackluster, it would be digging his own grave. Xiong Ziqing's words made sense, but what He Yulong did still made her furious. She could not swallow her anger. After all, she led Yi Shiwen here. If you disregard the monk, be respectful to the Buddha one. Yi Shiwen did not deal a heavy blow in respect of her. However, He Yulong treated Yi Shiwen harshly. It was like doubting her. Even so, can you sneak attack on others from behind? Not to mention that you can't win with a sneak attack. If I were him, I would suicide. Bai Hanmo sneered on the side, seemingly disdainful toward He Yulong's behavior. He Yulong, who had already suffered a defeat, puked another mouthful of blood after having heard this. He was so angry that he fainted directly. Bai Hanmo showed scornful and disdainful expression. He seemed to be insinuating that He Yulong was useless. With simple words, He Yulong couldn't stand it anymore. Neither Xiong Jiqing nor Yu Cece had anything to say about it. After all, He Yulong's surprise attack from behind was a fact. They couldn't do anything about it. At this time, they could only complain that He Yulong lost his mind and committed such a thing. Even if he liked Yao Qian, he shouldn't do that. Well, let's reduce the share we take by 10% if we enter the Chaos Demon Sea. What do you think? Xiong Jiqing said as he gritted his teeth. Like the young experts who came in from outside, they liked to work with the local experts in Chaos Demon City. After all, the local experts had a lot of experience and knew a lot of hidden secrets. If they could cooperate with the local experts, their risk of dying would considerably decline. These local experts were also willing to cooperate with these outsiders. Those who dared to enter Chaos Demon Sea must be the elite. They must be the best in the same realm, and even among the peers. Coupled with the local experts' experience and the foreigner's strength, it would often be a fruitful adventure. Yao Qian was undoubtedly someone they sought. Yi Shiwen just now made the best display of his strength with this punch. He was a guy who was not easy to mess with. But it was precise because of this that the bear team was even more reluctant to give up. Generally speaking, the ratio of outsiders and local experts splitting the loot was 40% and 60%, respectively. Equal share for both sides was common too. A reduction of 10% could also be regarded as Xiong Ziqing's compromise. 20%. Otherwise, there is no point in discussing this matter, Yi Shiwen said on behalf of Yao Qian at this time. He could see that Yao Qian was in a dilemma in this matter. After all, the previous cooperation between the bear team was pleasant. Yi Shiwen didn't mind acting as the bad guy right now. Yao Qian was about to speak, but she didn't add on when Yi Shiwen said something. Fine, 20%. Although it had been reduced by 20%, Xiong Ziqing also thought it was worth it. After all, such an opportunity was relatively rare. If the bear team did not cooperate with the trio, many people in the city sought this cooperation. Although the strength of the bear team was good, they were not the only demon hunting squad. Without them, the trio could seek cooperation from others. With their strength, they would be sought after. This kind of cooperation between the demon hunting squad and an outsider was frequent in Chaos Demon City. The only problem was that there were no rules at all in Chaos Demon City and Chaos Demon Sea. No restrictions existed. There could be situations in which both parties face off each other. It was not easy to find a familiar and trustworthy teammate. In this Chaos Demon Sea, some outsiders were led to remote places by those demon hunting squads. They would be wiped out. However, there were also demon hunting squads surrounded by those cunning outsiders and got wiped out. It was challenging to obtain mutual trust. Therefore, Yao Qian was determined to meet with the bear team. Captain Xiong felt guilty to Yao Qian in his heart. He didn't expect that He Yulong would do such a thing. Hence, he agreed as compensation. Right, I have one last request. I don't want this fellow to get involved. I don't want to see him around anymore, said Yi Shiwen, pointing to He Yulong, who had passed out in a coma on the ground. No problem, wouldn't it be too few people with only the 5 of us? Doubted Xiong Jiqing. Having one person short would bring a significant impact on the overall strength of the entire team. It doesn't matter. It would not affect much, said Yi Shiwen. Xiong Jiqing and Yucisi had no way to refute. After all, He Yulong had almost no power to fight back in Yi Ziwen's hands. It appeared that missing one did not hinder the team. And Yao Qian nodded and said, our top priority now is to enter the Chaos Demon Sea quickly. The vanishing shadow poisonous crocodile clan experts might be here at any time. The trio didn't have much time to delay. Okay, let's set off right away, Xiong Jiqing said when they saw both Yi Shiwen and Yao Qian seem hurried. He Yulong was quickly taken back by those outer members of the bear team, while the 5 of them did not stop for a moment, and went directly to Chaos Demon Sea. Half a day after the team left, the vanishing shadow poisonous crocodile clan experts had arrived. The leader was none other than Yihong. Yihong rushed into Chaos Demon City with a gloomy look. Chaos Demon City was not Chaos Demon Sea. The vanishing shadow poisonous crocodile clan also has some influence at this place. Yihong's arrival mobilized most of the clan's forces. Soon, Yihong knew that Yi Shiwen and others had left not long ago. Damn bitch! Yihong whispered viciously. He then directly sent a transmission talisman and contacted the Crown Prince Crocodile and Chaos Demon Sea. He was determined to hunt Yishiwen down in Chaos Demon Sea. Chapter 919. Chapter 919. Purple Ghost Fire Lotus in a vast demon sea. 5 figures appeared. In front of them, a massive and vicious sea beast was relentless. As its enormous body continued to turn and twist, a monstrous wave was set off. The wave launched water swords that rushed to the 5 people standing atop the demon sea. In this endless demon sea, dense demon auras were boiling frantically. TSK, the human powerhouse's flesh and blood are the best, the massive demonic sea beast said. His laughter was wild. Before he could continue to attack, Yishiwen had already made a move. A fiery long saber grew larger and larger in the sky. Until the end, it slashed downward with an uncontested momentum. The wheezing slash was deafening. The boundless demon aura was cut in half instantly. Puff! The intimidating and massive demonic sea beast was so vulnerable. It couldn't withstand a single blow from Yishiwen. It was directly beheaded in half with blood spurted out. The massive body broke into 2 halves and fell directly from the sky into the sea, setting off another monstrous wave. The massive demonic sea beast was at Transcendent Realm 5th level, which was nothing to a true expert. However, it didn't recognize the disparity in strength and coveted this team's idea. Yishiwen slashed it in half with a saber. Yishiwen opened his palm. A blood-dyed ray came out of Yiziwen's palm. Yishiwen absorbed all flesh and blood in that massive demonic sea beast into Tianyuan mirror instantly. Only the skin remained. Yishiwen immediately grabbed the Niden one. Yishiwen swallowed it directly into his body. The demonic sea beast's vigor and blood essence were all absorbed by Tianyuan mirror, which then transformed into pure energy and instilled into Yiziwen's body. Yishiwen felt his cultivation grew a bit stronger. Insuppressible elation was revealed on his face. Such harvest was only plausible in Chaos Demon Sea. After all the creatures in Chaos Demon Sea, including the sea clans and demonic sea beasts, had half of the demon bloodline. They could be regarded as half a demon clan, so Yishiwen could absorb the flesh and blood's essence to enhance his energy. After only a few days in Chaos Demon Sea, his cultivation had greatly improved. He had progressed a lot from Transcendent Realm 3rd level initial. At this rate, he would reach Transcendent Realm 3rd level peak in a month. With that, it opened the opportunity for him to attain Transcendent Realm 4th level. His foresight told him that after reaching Transcendent Realm 4th level, his combat power would be comparable to Transcendent Realm 7th level. It would be a significant increment. The rest of the team was used to it. In the past few days, everyone had become accustomed to what they had witnessed. For everyone, even if it was only Transcendent Realm 5th level, it was still a demonic sea beast after all. With its massive body size, it had become a formidable opponent, which the average Transcendent Realm 6th level experts struggled to deal with. Although any team members could slay this demonic sea beast, it would never be as simple and easy as Yishiwen. Yishiwen defeated the demonic sea beasts with merely one slash, ultimately catching the demonic sea beast off guard. It had no way to resist. They didn't know that Yishiwen possessed the Tianyuan mirror and extraordinary ability to restrain the demon race bloodline. Even if the demon race was stronger than Yishiwen, Yishiwen could completely restrain them with Tianyuan mirror. This was the fundamental reason why Yishiwen frequently hunted after he came to Chaos Demon Sea. The vanishing shadow poisonous crocodile clan would never let him off easily. He was required to improve his strength continually. Absorbing the demonic sea beast's blood essence was undoubtedly the most effective way to do so. Therefore, Yishiwen chose to kill more powerful demonic sea beasts and absorb their vigor and blood essence so that his cultivation could quickly advance into Transcendent Realm 3rd level peak. Yishiwen occupied the vigor and blood essence of the demonic sea beast alone, including the Niden. Yet, the others had nothing to say. Yishiwen did not lay his hand on the martial art instruments and spirit crystals on the Sea Demon Clan experts. He left all these items to them. Of course, Bai Hanmo and Yao Qian didn't mind. For Xiongjiqing and UCC of the bear team, they were satisfied with the distributions. Although these demonic sea beasts were powerful, their flesh and blood were not useful. It was all due to their demon clan bloodline. The average person couldn't ingest them directly at all. Otherwise, they would be prone to chi deviation. The Naiden's effect was limited. Therefore, the loot distribution was the most optimum for them. In general, everyone got what they needed. With professional demon hunters like Xiongjiqing and UCC, Yishiwen and others took lesser detours. They even avoided Sea Clan experts' ambushes several times. They all evacuated first because Xiongjiqing and UCC had discovered the encirclement early. Otherwise, it would be another challenging and bloody battle. But even so, the team was still going through various battles frequently every day due to Chaos Demon C's chaotic situation. After gaining battle experiences, there was a significant improvement for the entire team. Yao Qian made rapid progress. While fighting and comprehending her martial art technique, she absorbed the energy in the previously ingested pellets. Her cultivation increased rapidly. At this rate, she could reach the Transcendent Realm's 7th level before the top 100 competition. In that case, she would be in the lead among the younger generation of experts. Her placement in the top 20 was almost guaranteed. Baihamo's progress was outstanding too. His talent was robust already. After years of training and accumulation, what he lacked was battle experiences. In the battle, his accumulation throughout the years hard turned fruitful. It rapidly turned into growth and cultivation. Therefore, the trio's gains were basically at cultivation growth. For Xiongjiqing and UCC, their gains were mostly martial art instruments. Both parties got what they wanted in this cooperation. Everyone was satisfied. It was a gluttonous feast for Yishiwen. Time went by in this manner. 3 months had passed. During the 3 months, Yishiwen, Yao Qian, and others wandered in the Chaos Demon Sea's outer area, almost at the edge. They dared not dive deeper into the place. They said that the demonic sea beast clan's higher-ups gathered in the depths of Chaos Demon Sea. That place was well recognized as a gathering place for many law manifestation experts who had surpassed the Transcendent Realm. Although Yishiwen wanted to improve quickly, he was not an idiot who was ignorant of his limits. But even if it was only in the outer area, it was still dangerous. They even encountered a terrifying Transcendent Realm 9 levels demonic sea beast lurking in the outer area. At that time, it was hunting for food. Although there was a far distance, everyone felt this horrifying monster's existence, and did not approach it. In addition to the Transcendent Realm 9th level demonic sea beast, Yishiwen, and others also encountered the existence at Transcendent Realm 8th level several times. These formidable opponents included demonic sea beast clans and sea demon clans. The situation was thrilling. But fortunately, the experienced Xiongjiqing was with the team. So every time at the moment they were about to be discovered, everyone escaped in time. On this day, in an underground oceanic trench, a dark and translucent lotus flower bloomed. "Is this purple ghost fire lotus?" It was UCC's exclamation. Astonishment flashed in her eyes. "What is purple ghost fire lotus?" Baihamo asked. "This is a rare natural treasure. It has a purple color and is translucent. For the Sea Demon clan, it is a tonic supplement. The Transcendent Realm Sea Demon clans would raise their level by 1 if they were to ingest it. Any flower bloom of its kind is rare. Countless Sea Demon clan experts and even demonic sea beasts will fight for it. Every time it appears, there will be a bloodbath. Throughout the lotus flower encounters recorded in Chaos Demon Sea, each harvest is accompanied with the death of many sea demonic clan experts and demonic sea beasts." Xiongjiqing explained dutifully. "It's a pity that purple ghost fire lotus is a lethal poison for humans, unlike its tonic property to the sea demon clans and demonic sea beasts. The purple ghost fire lotus can only bloom under dense demon auras. With that, there is a lot of demon aura in it. If a human swallows it directly, it will collapse the qi and dantian in the body." Chapter 920. Chapter 920, Inevitable Battle. Ha ha ha, I didn't expect to discover purple ghost fire lotus by just following a few humans. An ecstatic voice came from behind. The team was immediately alerted. They all turned their heads to look at the sound source. It was a demonic sea beast clan expert with a pair of huge fin wings. He was wrapped in dark blue scales. He appeared in front of the crowd with a somewhat ecstatic smile. He exuded an unusually dangerous aura. Everyone's expressions suddenly changed. When did the demonic sea beast clan expert start tailing us? Why didn't we sense anything? We don't even know we were being followed. Even Xiongjiqing, a veteran demon hunter, hadn't noticed it. This was rare. Xiongjiqing, a veteran demon hunter, discovered the Transcendent Realm 8th level monster several times. It prevented the team from meeting up with the Transcendent Realm 8th level demonic sea beasts. But now, he did not realize the team had been followed. Xiongjiqing's face looked ugly. In Chaos Demon Sea, it was tough to survive. Besides having powerful strength, the most important thing was to be cautious. Naturally, he and the bear team did not have such tyrannical strength. To survive, he had always been cautious. But unexpectedly, he was still being followed, which was a shame to him. I'm so lucky! The demonic sea beast clan expert laughed weirdly. I got to have a few more human heads collections. This trip is so fruitful. Ha! Human heads collection. Xiongjiqing seemed to have thought of something. You are manslaughterer, Baiyin! Hearing Xiongjiqing's words, even UCC's expression turned ugly, as if this name possessed a terrifying deterrent. Ha ha, I didn't expect you to know my name. Great, die obediently. No one can escape from me. The demonic sea beast clan expert laughed sinisterly. I will have your head as a precious collection. Ha! The manslaughter's expression was distorted, crazy. It put chills on the witnesses. We're done for. We met a disaster. This is the end, UCC said in a panic. Horror flashed in her eyes. Is this manslaughter scary? Bai Hanmo asked. Of course, he is scary. No human expert had escaped from him. I don't know what his origin is. He suddenly emerged 20 years ago and madly slaughtered the humans in the Chaos Demon Sea. Some Sea Clan experts escaped from him, but no human expert escaped, UCC said in horror. Although he is just at Transcendent Realm 7th level, he's considered a veteran in the realm. Transcendent Realm 8th level experts were unable to defeat him. He massacred hundreds of human experts at one time and alerted a Transcendent Realm 9th level human expert. After a pursuit lasted for 3,000 miles, he ran away. As soon as these words came out, the faces of the trio immediately became serious. Being able to escape from the Transcendent Realm 9th level expert, this strength and experience was shocking enough. The most important thing was that he seemed to be a demonic sea beast that harbored humans' great hatred. For human clan experts, he had never been merciful. Everyone knew that this was a severe problem. They had no choice but to fight to the death. It was fight or die. The team had no way out because even if they gave up this purple ghost fire lotus, it was impossible to escape from him. The only outcome was to fight to the death. Let me handle it. You take the others to run away. At this time, Xiongjiqing gritted his teeth and said. A powerful aura surged on his body. It swept away in all directions. Xiongjiqing was a Transcendent Realm 7th level expert. He had been hiding very well in the past with no one discovering this. Yishuan also looked at Xiongjiqing in surprise. Xiongjiqing had always been cautious. This was the ultimate trump card he left for himself. Yishuan thought each team member would reserve their trump card, but he didn't expect that trump card to be such a big surprise. You want to flee? Can you? Manslaughter Baiyin laughed and said. Dense demon chi swept across the oceanic trench in an instant. I have already placed a net here. If I don't defuse it, there is no possibility for you all to escape. The team gasped in shock. Baiyin was ruthless and meticulous. He was a murderous psychopath, leaving no chance for his prey to escape. Fight with him. I don't believe that he can fight with all of us. Bai Hanmo yelled, especially Xiong Jiqing, who was also a Transcendent Realm 7th level expert. It gave him a lot of encouragement. It was only now that he understood a little the world was more dangerous than he imagined. There were not only warriors inferior to him in the world. Many of them were more powerful than him. Facing such an elite, he was not as relaxed as before. His playful attitude had gone entirely. Flee quickly. It'll stop him. Otherwise, none of us can flee. Xiong Jiqing gritted his teeth and roared. He is not an opponent that can be defeated by relying on number advantage. Although he is a lunatic without a doubt, he is a madman with brilliant talent. Lunatic, ha ha ha, I like this name. Baiyin laughed wildly. But it is you humans who made me like this. A scene emerged in front of his eyes. There were flames and blood washing a demonic sea beast clan small village. Scenes of broken limbs and blood baths were alternating. A vicious beast's roar was heard in the distance, heralding the beginning of sin. Death was followed by. The broken bridge accompanied by clouds of black smoke rose. One could not see the end of darkness. Flames of chaos. The ugly sides of humans brought destruction. Some human experts incarnated as demons invade every inch of space arrogantly. A demonic sea beast clan's child looked at this devastated world, heard the most desperate roars and sounds of despair in the world. He stared at the dark sky and could not find an exit. Both his hands were trembling, unable to grasp the fading life of his surrounding clansmen. He felt so weak, his eyes became bloodshot. This scene lingered in his mind for a long time. It could no longer be wiped away. In Chaos Demon Sea, such a scene was staged every moment. It was either the human clan experts wiped out, or the sea clan fleet annihilated, or even the demonic sea beast clan village wholly slaughtered. There was no such thing as justice or evil. Everything that happened was meant for survival. The experience of these years also made him see beyond life and death. But why did such a thing happen to me? Now that I am so unfortunate, then other people must be more unfortunate than me. Hatred quickly filled all of his minds. His eyes projected a cruel and oppressive glint. His hands instantly emitted blood-dyed glimmers. On the other hand, Xiong Ziqing's aura was gradually becoming more vigorous. Xiong Jiqing said with unprecedented seriousness. Leave quickly. Otherwise, I'm afraid you won't be able to leave. Even if it's me, I'm afraid I can't resist for long. Cece, go back and tell everyone that I am not a good captain. Everyone can choose a better captain in the future. Captain? 2 lines of tears dripped from Cece's pair of eyes. It quickly merged into the seawater, and was washed away by the restless seawater. You want to stop me? Old man, are you kidding me? Baiyin laughed wildly. He launched his figure instantly, forming a blood light in front of him, splitting the seawater on his path in half. In an instant, it turned into a ball of blood-dyed light and rushed in front of Xiong Jiqing, where the massive fist bombarded instantly. Boom! The seawater seemed to be tossed over in an instant. A shockwave exploded in the boundless sea, which caused the oceanic trench to tremble crazily. Boom! Xiong Jiqing crossed his hands and firmly blocked Baiyin's attack, but his figure was directly blasted away for more than 10 meters. Blood spurted at the corner of his mouth, dyeing the surrounding seawater crimson red. His figure trembled slightly, but he quickly recovered. Go! Xiong Jiqing roared with blood in his mouth. I can't hold him for long. It was worse than holding him off for long. When he received Baiyin's fanatical punch, his body was severely wounded. The fist impact almost knocked him out. He could hardly imagine that this was the Transcendent Realm's 7th level strength. He once fought against the Transcendent Realm 8th level expert, but he didn't feel such a brutal force. You have sustained 1 punch of mine. Not bad, old man. But this is far from over. Baiyin was a little surprised. He didn't expect Xiong Jiqing to be able to block his punch, but it was nothing to him. His figure darted out again, summoning a tide of monstrous blood waves. The terrifying fist pressure directly blasted the seawater yet again. Chapter 921. Chapter 921. Yishi, when making the move by Yin, was swift, but his power was terrifying at the same time. Under this punch, the seawater that weighed more than 1,000 pounds was utterly overturned. It was almost like a piece of white paper being flipped over. With the help of the waves, it became even more terrifying. Xiong Ziqing's hand shot a light beam that covered half of the sky. It firmly caught this terrifying fist impact, preventing it from spreading. However, his figure was blown out again. It took more than 10 meters to stabilize his figure. "Old man, let me see how many punches of mine can you block." Bai Yin's speed rose by another margin. At the same time, his spirit instantly locked Yi Shiwen and others to prevent them from escaping. If there were any fleeing signs, he would immediately chase over to kill them. He was like a cat, toying with his prey. It felt effortless. However, if the mouse were to escape, it would deliver the killing blow. Among the people present, Yu Cixi, the weakest, had also entered the Transcendent Realm's 6th level, while Yao Qian and Bai Hanmo were both considered the pride of their respective forces. When had they toyed like a mouse? But the opponent's intention was blatant. He was teasing them like prey that was firm in his grasp. But no matter how angry the team was, there was no way. The opponent was too strong. Although Xiong Ziqing was also at Transcendent Realm's 7th level, it was apparent he had to go all out to stop Bai Yin, let alone fight against Bai Yin. It was simply impossible for him. Because of this, Bai Yin didn't intend to go all out. He was toying the team before killing them off. Boom! Xiong Ziqing had blasted out again. He no longer knows how many times he was bombarded. Every time he stood up unsteadily, Bai Yin would blast him out again. Bai Yin could kill him, but the madman didn't make the final blow and tortured him until he couldn't hold on anymore. The lunatic was going all out to torture his spirit. He was not satisfied with just crushing his body. The madman wanted to overwhelm his spirit completely. It would bring him a twisted sense of pleasure. "Captain?" On the side, Yu Cixi was already breaking down into tears, but she was helpless with the situation. Xiong Ziqing would not let her come forward. "Tisk, old man, I didn't expect you to be able to hold on till now. It's amazing." Bai Yin sneered. "It's just that I don't have any fun anymore. It will now kill you and send you to the afterlife." The horrifying blood-colored light on him became more intense. His cruel eyes were like statics. It stung Captain Xiong coldly. The blood-colored eyes were chilly. The playful attitude was no longer there, only cold killing intent. He suddenly grabbed out with both hands as if his grip was about to shatter the universe. Murderous intent leaked out indefinitely. The vast and boundless killing intent made the onlooker breathless. Everyone was horrified. Is this the strength that an ordinary Transcendent Realm 7th level expert can possess? Even Xiong Ziqing's initial momentum was incomparable to Bai Yin. There was a considerable gap. Is he just a Transcendent Realm 7th level warrior? Even Yu Cixi suspected that Bai Yin was not a Transcendent Realm 7th level warrior but a top Transcendent Realm 8th level expert. His claws turned into a monstrous cage with an unmatched momentum. It instantly suppressed Xiong Ziqing. He had lost all patience and was about to behead Xiong Ziqing on the spot. An unprecedented terrifying force crushed Xiong Ziqing's body. The bones on his body even began to make constant crackling sounds, as if they would be crushed into pieces in the next moment. A monstrous fiery saber aura fell from the sky and slashed on the massive hand at this critical moment. Dang! There was a loud crash, which directly set off terrifying air turbulence, rushing out the sea for several miles. The terrible collision of two forces directly set off an incomparable airwave, especially the flame airwave. It evaporated countless seawater in an instant. However, since they were on the seabed, a great volume of seawater evaporated here. Soon, the surrounding seawater quickly replenished the empty spot in the seabed. The seawater was endless, after all. Although the saber slash could not harm this demon claw, in the end, it bought some time for Xiong Ziqing. Xiong Jiqing took advantage of this time to finally escape the attack range of this demon claw. A figure appeared directly in front of Xiong Jiqing. "Brat, you dare to go against me! I originally planned to kill you later. It looks like you can't wait to die." Bai Yin just sneered and looked at Yi Shiwen as if looking at a dead person. His corner revealed his indifference and cruelty. For him, the game time was over. The rest of the time was for slaughter. "Didn't I ask you to flee?" Xiong Jiqing only noticed at this time that Yi Shiwen and the others were still there. He was forced to deal with Bai Yin with all his strength just now. He was unable to pay attention to whether Yi Shiwen and others had left. Seeing Yi Shiwen coming back at this time, he put him at fault. This was an opportunity he intended to exchange with his own life. These people didn't cherish it and came back. "Can we leave?" Yi Shiwen had a bitter smile at the corner of his mouth. Did he not want to leave? Nope, but there was no other way. If they were to escape, Xiong Ziqing's desperate move could only stop Bai Yin for a small amount of time. Bai Yin had laid layers of arrays over the oceanic trench. The time was not enough for them to destroy the array and escape. They had no other way. If they didn't want to die, then there was only one way: fight to the death. If Bai Yin did not die, it would be them. As the situation developed to this stage, it was an inevitable battle, a fight to the death. "If he doesn't die, then we die," said Yi Shiwen. This was also the fundamental reason why he decided to make a move directly. "Ha ha ha, this kid is right. If I don't die, none of you get to leave. If you're so capable, kill me. I look forward to it." Bai Yin's face had a weird smile. He seemed a bit lunatic. No one knew what was in his mind. His eyes were bloodshot. His killing intent was detectable even from afar. Yi Shiwen revealed his power bit by bit. He planned to go all out. Hiding his true strength was equivalent to knocking on the death's door. His skin first turned into a bronze color. Tyrant body was fully activated. A burst of golden divinity exuded onto Yi Ziwen's skin. The golden brilliance signified an oppressive and powerful force boiling on his body. From a distance, it looked like an overlord cast in gold. Everyone, especially Yu Cixi, looked at Yi Shiwen in shock. This was Yi Ziwen's real strength. What he said was not wrong. He did not go all out against Yulong. Otherwise, with the horrifying power that was now exposed, Yulong could be killed easily. Even among them, no one could be Yi Ziwen's opponent except for Xiong Jiqing. Xiong Jiqing was also quite shocked to see Yi Shiwen in gold casting. He knew that Yi Shiwen must have hidden his real strength, but he didn't know Yi Shiwen hid so much. When Yi Shiwen fought against Yulong, it was less than a quarter of the strength displayed at this moment. The mini-universe in Yi Ziwen's body also began to spin frantically. This was the result of his observing person scripture running at full capacity. "I will kill you first." Bai Yin gave a weird laugh. His figure broke through the waves and hit Yi Shiwen in front of him. "Be careful!" Xiong Jiqing yelled immediately. But at this time, Bai Yin's offense had already approached Yi Shiwen. His fists were densely covered with demon qi. The qi spun crazily, driving the countless seawater around him to assume a vortex. A water drill bit was formed, and it came to Yi Ziwen's face. He had no plan to toy with Yi Shiwen at all. He decided to kill him in one fell swoop. At this time, just when everyone thought Yi Shiwen could not react, he finally moved. His fist slammed directly on Bai Yin's fist. Boom! A loud explosion sounded from the impact of the two fists that carried terrifying powers. It turned into a ball of energy, and ripples of energy storms swept out in all directions. The two colliding fists were deadlocked in midair for a long time. Finally, Yi Ziwen's fist was unable to continue. There was a trace of flaw. This flaw was like domino. Immediately, Yi Ziwen's punch collapsed utterly. Bai Yin's punch bombarded Yi Shiwen in the end. Boom! With a violent collision, Yi Shiwen only felt that a monstrous force enveloped him. This force covered his whole body. Crackling sounds could be heard. He felt his bones were about to be crushed. Yi Shiwen couldn't get rid of all the power that impacted him. He was directly blasted back a few steps with a trace of blood spilling from the corner of his mouth. Chapter 922. Chapter 922. The pressing danger in the vast Chaos Demon Sea. A group of warriors flew quickly above the sea. If Yishuan were there, he would probably recognize these warriors. They were the Vanishing Shadow Poisonous Crocodile clan experts. The leading warrior was none other than Yihong. The group was entering the Chaos Demon Sea. The young man behind him was also Yi Zaiwen's acquaintance, He Yulong, which he knocked out previously. He Yulong, who was severely injured, had completely recovered. His strength seemed to have escalated to the next level. Behind these two was a tall figure wearing a black cloak with a looming demon aura wrapped around him. 5 figures who dressed similarly were following the cloaked figure. Like the one leading them, they were all faintly entwined with a trace of demon aura. "Are you sure that this route is correct?" Yihong asked Yulong next to him. He appeared a little impatient. After all, it had been a lengthy pursuit, and yet they still couldn't catch up with Yishuan. The current circumstances had worn off their patience. "Yes, we're right in the right direction. We won't be wrong." With a slight panic expression, He Yulong said, "In our team, we usually leave special musk as a mark. Only our team has the unique way of detecting it. The path will not be wrong. It will be fine if that is the case. Otherwise, I will kill you and turn you into our ration." At this time, the leading figure in the black cloak said. His voice was a little hoarse, seemingly ineloquent. He wasn't someone who often spoke much. "Yes, yes." He Yulong nodded quickly. "As long as you complete your task well, the Vanishing Shadow Poisonous Crocodile clan will not mistreat you. Forget about the bear team. It will not be a problem for you to build another team at all." At this time, Yihong promised as he patted his chest. It was just that there was a faint contempt in his gaze toward He Yulong. He thought he hid it well, but He Yulong in front of him had captured it. Everything fell into He Yulong's eyes, crystal clear. A hint of resentment flashed through He Yulong's eyes. Yihong thought the mere human didn't notice his contempt, but in fact, all of this had entered the human's eyes. He Yulong knew it very well that Yihong and the Vanishing Shadow Poisonous Crocodile clan experts were using him. Although he was somewhat coerced, his hatred toward Yishuan made him lead the group. Both parties had their plans, conspiring against each other. At this moment, the cooperation was still peaceful. "I have to trouble you this time," Yihong said to the black-cloaked figure behind him at this time. "It's nothing. It's our duty to resolve the past incidents too. Yishuan dares to challenge our prince. We have the reasons to put him down. Only his insignificant death can clear our name. No matter what, it is better to find him and hunt him down as fast as we can." "I have to return to the Crown Prince as soon as possible," replied the black-cloaked figure. "And," Yihong said, "the prince takes Yishuan as a problem in his heart. We need to eliminate him before he grows stronger." The black-cloaked figure said disdainfully, "Among the younger generations, no one can cause trouble to the prince. Your Highness is peerless. The prince is destined to conquer the flourished Cloud Sea region." "Yes, indeed. You're absolutely right." Everyone agreed, but God knows what they thought in their hearts. There was a glimmer of surprise in Bai Yin's eyes. Xiong Jiqing was also a Transcendent Realm 7th level expert anyway. It was not surprising that Captain Xiong could block his offense. In his view, Yishuan was nothing but a Transcendent Realm 3rd level expert. It was nothing more than an ant whom he didn't even bat an eye. Logically speaking, Yishuan was outmatched totally. But Yishuan blocked his all-out punch. Although Yishuan kept backing away, this did not conceal the fact that the human did block his punch. A bitter smile flashed on Yi Zaiwen's face. Sure enough, there was still a considerable gap between him and Bai Yin. It could even be said that if it weren't for the tyrant body and the magic of the Phoenix regeneration technique, he could not sustain even an attack from the opponent. After all, the opponent was of a completely different caliber. Since it had come to this, Yishuan had no choice but to put up a desperate fight. With his life at stake, he became more resolute. Retreat and leave the rest to me. In the time between Yi Zaiwen's sentence, his weakened aura due to the heavy blow had been restored to the peak swiftly. Phoenix regeneration technique had become way more potent after assimilating the phoenix's flame fruit. Xiong Jiqing was relieved to see Yi Shiwen seemed to be okay. If Yi Shiwen was also punched to death, then only death awaited the remaining party members. By now, he finally realized that Yi Shiwen was the one who hid himself the deepest among Yao Qian's trio. It was more than hiding the cultivation realm. Xiong Jiqing couldn't hold it at this time. Although he didn't die, blocking Bai Yin's offenses made his body on the verge of collapse. If he were not treated, he would die even without Bai Yin's attack. Be careful. He is stronger than the average Transcendent Realm's 7th level expert, reminded Captain Xiong. Although the opponent was only at Transcendent Realm's 7th level, he viewed his opponent as more powerful than Transcendent Realm 8th level. I understand. Yi Shiwen nodded. Although the exchange of blows only took place once, it also made him understand the horror laid within Bai Yin, fearing that the opponent was far beyond his imagination. Captain? At this time, Xiong Jiqing retreated. Yu Cixi already broke into tears. What are you crying about? Am not dead yet, said Xiong Jiqing a little irritably. He then began to recover. At this time, Yi Shiwen had to stand alone in front of the opponent. Captain Xiong had to recover as soon as possible and return to peak. Only then could he help Yi Shiwen. At this time, both Yao Qian and Bai Hanmo looked at Yi Shiwen anxiously, wondering how he would face this terrifying expert. Yi Shiwen was blown away with a punch just now. What happened was crystal clear in their eyes. TSK, this is interesting. Is this a brotherhood among comrades? It's a pity. You lot are heading to hell soon. Bai Yin showed a cruel smile on his face, even worse than the previous smile. When you go to hell and meet the Hell Emperor, don't forget to tell him that I killed you. Your heads will become my most exquisite artwork. Bai Yin's 5 fingers squeezed into a fist. Dense demon auras at the surroundings began to gather in his direction. In Chaos Demon Sea, the demon aura was more abundant than that in other places. As a half-demon and a demonic sea beast, it was the best battlefield for him, surrounded by demon auras. It was precisely because of Chaos Demon Sea's unique circumstances that the demonic sea beast clans, half-demon, had a footing whilst competing with the major forces in the flourished Cloud Sea region. God-defying demon statue punch! Behind him, a statue composed of countless demon auras began to appear. The statue resembled a hideous demon god with a green face and blue fangs. The statue had 6 pairs of arms, appearing in an eldritch demeanor. Bai Yin didn't know the origin of this fist technique because it was his natural awakening punching technique. It should be the terrifying martial arts contained in the half-demon blood. Generally, whether it was half-demon or half-demon beast or whatever, there was a chance to awaken the supernatural bloodline powers of different races. Although there were some differences, it was easier to awaken the blood of the stronger side. Just like Bai Yin, after awakening the demon part of his blood, the sea race blood in his body began to be madly suppressed. He gradually began to become like a demon clan instead of being a sea clan. But he accepted this feeling because he felt powerful and in control. He liked this feeling the most, having power and being able to do whatever he wanted. This feeling made him feel like he was omnipotent like the gods. This was especially true when hunting those human experts who have entered Chaos Demon Sea. Seeing them either crawling under his feet or swearing directly at him gave off a unique pleasure. These should be the side effects of the power awakening in his body. Even if it had a strong ramification, it was worth it for him. Maybe I should have died long ago. Occasionally, this kind of thought flashed past. Even if he was killed by a human expert whom he hunted on the spot, there was no regret in his heart. He felt he had killed enough. Hence, he was even more unscrupulous because there was no fear. That was why he became more brutal. When that colossal statue appeared, Bai Yin suddenly felt that his power had become more robust, but the blood essence was being consumed at a faster rate. Boom! He slammed a punch wrapped in a thick demon aura. The demon aura seemed to pollute the entire ocean. A visible black demon aura directly blocked the remaining light entering the arena. It appeared as though the sun was gone. Yi Zaiwen's expression became unusually dignified. Countless divinity on his body began to emerge crazily. In every drop of divinity, there was a deity constantly reciting ancient scriptures to fend off those demon auras. Chapter 923. Chapter 923. Madly trading hits. Yi Shiwen did not focus his mind on incarnating the divinity. Instead, it passively provided protection. It appeared to be stimulated by these demon auras. Demon aura itself was one of the eeriest energies in the world. On the other hand, divinity itself was the utmost strength, and utmost just energy. These two energies were inherently opposed. Once they collided together, it caused a violent reaction. Divinity turned into a golden ocean wave, directly resisting the demon aura onslaught. Boom! God-defying demon statue punch slammed into the golden divinity. The two inherently opposing forces smashed together. There was a fierce collision every second with a tremendous amount of energy consumed. Although Yi Shiwen did his best to resist, the divinity was still unable to resist the God-defying demon statue punch's destructive power. God-defying demon statue punch managed to open up a hole for its destructive power to penetrate. But it also gave Yi Shiwen time to recompose himself. He concentrated all his energy on one point. The mini-universe in his body instantly began to spin frantically. A mind construct swept out immediately. Although it was not as good as Yi Hong's territory, the mind construct was the territory's initial appearance. Around Yi Zaiwen's side, it seemed to have become a void in the universe, frantically extending towards the far distance. His fists turned into two massive stars and punched off the huge demon aura. Boom! Countless seawater on the scene evaporated in an instant. A vacuum zone was formed in an instant. Frenzied energy that swept out in ripples pushed away the oncoming seawater. None of it could seep into the arena. Dang! 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 Yi Shiwen retreated 3 steps in a row. Each step stomped the air around the seabed. The scene when the air collapsed in a large area was quite terrifying. If the battle took place in the true martial domain, the space would be punched through. At this moment, Baiyin had already rushed over. He did not give him any chance for Yi Shiwen to catch a breather. This kid is dangerous. It gave him the intention to kill Yi Shiwen as fast as possible because he felt something was amiss. Shwa! Baiyin's speed was so swift that his punch appeared in front of Yi Shiwen instantly. Although it was not as powerful and terrifying as God-defying demon statue punch just now, the speed was way faster. He didn't need to get prepared in activating the technique. He purely relied on the terrifying power of his physical body. Both the sea race and the demon's body were far above the human race. These two races were advantageous in a physical brawl. Baiyin, with the combined advantages of the two clans, had no reason to undermine it. Boom! Yi Shiwen quickly raised his hand to block the punch. His right hand was only able to halt Baiyin's fist momentum. The horrible fist was capable of shattering a mountain range, even if it was an ordinary punch with no demon chi. However, Baiyin's speed was swift. Another punch came in almost instantly. Fortunately, Yi Shiwen was confident in terms of the physical body. He could even compete with the dragon race at the same level. It was conceivable how terrifying Yi Zaiwen's physical body was. Even though Yi Zaiwen's cultivation realm was not as high as Baiyin, he did not fall short even in the slightest when it came to the physical body. Boom! 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 The two of them were like showing off their martial arts. Each move of theirs was fast, accurate, and ruthless. They pinpointed each other's weakness directly, leaving almost no opening for the opponent. The scene was shocking. Yi Shiwen was competing with Baiyin in terms of the physical body. What was terrifying was that Yi Shiwen showed no losing signs. Yao Qian and Bai Hanmo, who watched from a distance, found it unbelievable when they witnessed this scene. Firstly, Yi Zaiwen's realm was far worse than Baiyin. Secondly, whether the sea clans or the demon clans, they had much sturdier bodies than the human clans. Apart from the minority bloodlines among the human race, the others were not proficient in the physical body. Everyone's eyes were solemn. They could not join the battlefield due to the vast disparity in combat strength. However, they still understood that danger lay within despite it appearing effortless. With a little carelessness or even a direct hit unblocked, the attack would penetrate Yi Zaiwen's body. The two were fast and cruel, attacking each other's weakness with no pauses. It was like two terrifying cyborgs fighting. "It's over. I'm afraid, elder brother, you will suffer this time," Bai Hanmo said with a rare seriousness. His combat experience was not much because his growing environment was too protected. However, it did not mean that he didn't have a discerning pair of eyes. Yi Shiwen did not fall behind in terms of the body, but the battle between two people was more than just a physical strength difference. As a matter of fact, Bai Yin's overall strength was far above Yi Shiwen. "Ha ha, this is a refreshing battle!" Bai Yin laughed loudly and said, "It's been a long time since I have so much fun. Although you're human, you are a different one. I don't want your head anymore. I want your whole body. You can last long until now with your Transcendent Realm 3rd level. It is not easy already." As he spoke, glaring killing intent exuded. For this particular human, he felt Yi Shiwen was equipped with high status and high strength. Once the opponent progresses further in the future, it would be a threat to the other races. As he encountered such a talent, there was only one choice: a relentless hunt. He would not allow his opponent to escape. After playing enough, Bai Yin no longer held himself back. The straight punches had boundless power. It blasted straight toward Yi Shiwen. The fist pressure directly blasted through the golden divinity clad on Yi Shiwen, striking onto his vulnerable flesh. Boom! Yi Shiwen suffered the horrifying blow. As he appeared almost blasted out, flames emerged on his palm. It morphed into a fiery long saber immediately, slashing right at the opponent. In an instant, Yi Zaiwen's fiery long saber also slashed on Bai Yin's body, drawing a large wound directly on the opponent's chest, and the blood was sprayed all over. Bai Yin didn't anticipate Yi Shiwen to have this trick. The human attacked him at the most unexpected and unguarded moment. The blow incurred a grave wound. At this time, Yi Shiwen was also blasted out. A mouthful of blood was directly spat out. The injury was much more severe than Bai Yin. His chest was dented. It was almost as if he was about to die immediately. Bai Yin was still stunned on the spot. He was injured. He was actually injured. This was an inexcusable thing for him. It was not that he has never been injured. He had the experience of severely injured and even close to dying. However, he never thought a Transcendent Realm 3rd level warrior would hurt him one day. Although this attack depended on his carelessness, it still happened after all. It was a huge shame. Damn it, die! Bai Yin thought of the war scene surrounded by fire. Death seemed to be the only main tune in this play. His body trembled involuntarily with anger, and fear struck him. His figure darted toward Yi Shiwen immediately. He wanted to deliver a fatal blow onto Yi Shiwen. Yi Shiwen had already sustained a severe injury. The human was by the death's door. He would send Yi Shiwen to hell to relinquish his hatred. But when he darted over, he found that the situation was completely different from what he had imagined. Yi Zaiwen's injury was not as severe as he had imagined. Yi Shiwen could even be said to be in good condition. In the delay, Yi Shiwen had used Phoenix regeneration technique to recover from his injuries. Facing Bai Yin, who was rushing over again, Yi Shiwen moved. He was even more proactive than Bai Yin, as if he was not afraid of death. He ran forward, ultimately giving up all defenses and putting all his energy on the attack. Another slash came down directly. Bai Yin, who was already mad, didn't notice the peculiarity with the event. Seeing Yi Shiwen giving up the defense, he only thought the human was courting death. He didn't feel that there was a miss, so he delivered the blow with all his strength. Puff! The two sides directly flew out like two meteors. Both sides suffered grave injuries with blood gushing, and their bodies broke apart. This was a tragic duel. They were like nemesis with no holding back. Their only goal was to hurt the opponent as much as possible, ultimately killing the opponent. Both sides were in poor condition, though Yi Shiwen suffered the short end. He was on the verge of death again. Chapter 924. Chapter 924. Behead by Ian. If Yi Zaiwen's physical body were not strong enough, he would probably be killed on the spot. Everything would be over, even with any tactic. Without the mighty Phoenix regeneration technique's healing power, it was impossible to achieve it. After one exchange of blows, Yi Shiwen would lose all his combat strength. He could not continue the plan any further. Only Yi Shiwen, who had both aspects, could do it. Soon, Xiong Jiqing also realized Yi Zaiwen's plan. Yi Shiwen did not conceal it because it was too obvious. Since the initiative to operate this tactic was also in Yi Zaiwen's hands, unless Bai Yin could beat Yi Shiwen to death with one punch, there would be no difference. At this time, Captain Xiong understood why Yi Shiwen dared to resist Bai Yin's onslaught in his shoe. It turned out that there was such a reason. In fact, Yi Zaiwen's combat strength was probably worse than Xiong Ziqing's. If there was no Phoenix regeneration technique, he could not last until the second exchange of blows. The magical recovery technique brought him the courage to exchange injuries with Bai Yin. On the other hand, Xiong Jiqing lacked the conditions to do so. But at this time, Bai Yin, with bloodshot eyes, didn't care about it at all. He attacked Yi Shiwen directly with no hesitation. "Elder brother Yi, you did a good job," Bai Hanmo praised while watching. On the side, Yao Qian frowned slightly. She did not cheer just because Yi Shiwen severely inflicted Bai Yin twice. She could see that although Yi Zaiwen's Phoenix regeneration technique was magical, it took time to recover even with its magical property. Although the time might be short, it did take time to recover to the peak. Would Bai Yin give Yi Shiwen the time? Certainly not. So, Yi Shiwen would only get weaker with no time to recover to his peak as the battle continued. Fortunately, Bai Yin's combat strength was also declining after suffering heavy damage. Endurance would decide who would be the emerging victor. It depended on who was the first to cripple the opponent. This was a great battle because both sides did not hold back. Every exchange of hits would guarantee bloodshed. Sometimes the attack was simple and rough, but it was also direct and fierce. Both of them were like streamers, flashing in the sea. They fought till atop the oceanic trench. Both sides didn't reserve their strength. They sharply opposed each other, with neither prepared to give an inch. Yi Zaiwen's lost techniques were in full display, including wood-burning saber technique, shattered star fist, and burial sword technique. The techniques took turns to be activated with only one purpose: he must avoid his opponent figuring out all his combat routine. However, Bai Yin only utilized God-defying demon statue punch to attack. He rushed toward Yi Shiwen frantically. Facing Yi Shiwen madly trading injuries, he didn't mind because it would be useless to be reserved. It would give an opening for Yi Shiwen to seize him continuously. As he encountered an opponent like Yi Shiwen, there was no other way but to confront the opponent directly. God knows how long had passed. The battle between the two finally reached the collapsing balance. Boom! The array's fragmentation quickly caused the entire sea to vibrate wildly in an instant, setting off a monstrous wave. It swept out in an instant. The movements of the two did not stop due to the rupture of these arrays. Yi Shiwen directly turned into a streamer and flew out the oceanic trench. Seeing Yi Zaiwen's movements, Bai Yin, who was in a frenzy, didn't think much. He flew out and chased Yi Shiwen. "Thinking of fleeing? In your dream! Run!" Xiong Jiqing said in a low voice at this time. At this time, everyone understood what Yi Shiwen wanted. He led Bai Yin away and gave everyone a chance to escape. To achieve this goal, he even rushed directly to fight near the array. His objective was to smash the array in the beginning. As he expected, the whole array could not stand the shockwave coming from their battle and was shattered. The array itself was not decisive. The real challenge was Bai Yin. As long as they were given time, the destruction of the array was only a matter of time. The question was how to stop Bai Yin. Yi Shiwen did what Xiong Jiqing failed to do. Bai Yin might not notice it. At this time, He was thoroughly annoyed at Yishiwen. He did not care less but vowed to kill Yishiwen. At this time, killing Yishiwen was the most critical thing. Everything else was illusory to him. Everyone took the seriously injured Xiong Jiqing and flew toward the sea. Boom! 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 On the boundless chaos demon sea, a chaotic explosion sounded far away. Amidst the chaos, 4 figures were swaying in the sky. They looked quite embarrassed. It was Yao Qian and the other 4. On the other side, not far away, Yishiwen was fighting with Bai Yin above the sky. The flames of war spread directly from the sky to the surface of the sea. There were terrifying turbulences continually coming from the entire sea, all of which were set off by the chi collision brought by the fighting between them. On the opposite of Yishiwen, it was Bai Yin. The scales all over his body covered him up. The scales appeared to be the blue scales belonging to the sea race. However, its pitch black hue resembled the demon race. It reflected a faint glimmer. A pair of scale wings behind Bai Yin accentuated his hideous appearance. But at this time, Bai Yin looked unusually sorry. The emerald green blood flowed almost all over his body. His pair of wings seemed to have been forcibly torn off in half. The previous luster across the scales was long gone. On the opposite side of Bai Yin, Yishiwen didn't get any better, and was even more sorry. A terrifying wound stretched from his shoulder to his abdomen. His bones were visible. Except for this wound, there were countless other wounds. Yishiwen kept breathing heavily, but his eyes were still firm. This was the most terrifying and bizarre battle after he entered Chaos Demon Sea. Although he had encountered Transcendent Realm 9th level demonic sea beasts previously, there had never been such a head-to-head confrontation. Just to recover from the injury, Yi Zaiwen's lifespan had been consumed for more than 100 years. He was consuming his life almost every moment, which was equivalent to overdrawing his life. Between the two parties, it was as if they were fighting for their lives without any pause at all. At this time, both sides were surpassing most beings. Brat, I didn't expect that one day I would be forced to do this. Bai Yin kept coughing. Blood was continually overflowing, condensing a strange demonic pattern. But this is the end. I will send you to hell today. Within his body, power began to boil. Circles of terrifying fluctuations seeped out from his body and swept away, making people look terrified. Yishiwen, be careful! Yi Mo's reminder came into Yi Zaiwen's mind. He felt the danger too. Yishiwen also ran Phoenix regeneration technique crazily at this time, recovering his injuries. However, Phoenix regeneration technique's recovery speed was getting slower and slower. Through the constant fighting, Bai Yin's demon aura had penetrated his body. Clearing it out from the body would take time. This was why as the battle progressed, both sides struggled. Yi Zaiwen's recovery grew slower the longer the time passed. Yishiwen was using his life for the battle. He could feel that what Bai Yin was activating must be a terrifying move. Even in the peak state, he might not be able to sustain it, let alone in his current state of being half disabled. Sure, but how can I let you activate this move? Yishiwen roared. A unique wave came from his body. Countless demon aura and spiritual energy on the sea were absorbed in an instant. Even if it were the demonic sea beast clans that could absorb both demon aura and spiritual energy, they didn't dare to absorb them all like Yishiwen. With Tianyuan Mirror, Yishiwen could ignore the conflict between the spiritual energy and demon aura. Countless spiritual energy and demon aura rushed directly into his body. They directly merged with the chi in his body. A terrifying wave in his body began to flash violently. Yishiwen could feel that the chi in his body was being consumed at an alarming speed. Yao Qian and Bai Hanmo on the side looked at both sides with fluctuating energies, horrified. It was as though they had seen something beyond the world could muster. The fluctuations that radiated from the two of them now wrung tremendous danger. If they were put in the same spot, they would have no chance of winning at all. Boom! In the end, Yishiwen completed the demon chi bomb first. A terrifying chi bomb pounced at Bai Yin at a frightening speed. At this time, Bai Yin's move was just about to be completed. It smashed into the demon chi bomb, which seemed to cause a series of changes. He sustained Yi Zaiwen's attack forcefully, but his body was about to crumble. Finally, Bai Yin lost control of his ultimate move. Terrifying power began to run rampant in his body. It was initially used to deal with Yi Shiwen. However, he had failed to deliver it, hence leaving it scattered in his body. Boom! His body finally failed. It self-destructed, the blood-dyed power swept out in all directions. A huge mushroom cloud rose directly and slowly on the sea surface, evaporating countless seawater instantly. The seawater within a radius of 10 miles disappeared. Chapter 925. Chapter 925, 4th level within grasp. Seeing Bai Yin self-destruct on the spot, everyone was finally relieved. Bai Yin put too much pressure on them, like a gloomy cloud. He could kill the team at any time. Most importantly, Bai Yin was much stronger than them. He was strong enough to crush the entire team overwhelmingly. He even surpassed the average Transcendent Realm 7th level expert. Otherwise, it would not evolve into such a situation. Although no one knew how he cultivated to such a level, it was terrifying. Fortunately, Yi Shiwen handled the catastrophe. He finally beheaded Bai Yin after exhausting all his efforts. It was an uphill battle. Yi Shiwen almost died before Bai Yin. If it hadn't been Yi Shiwen sending out the demon Qi bomb first, which ultimately disrupted Bai Yin's move, Bai Yin would not have self-destructed and died on the spot. Yi Shiwen achieved this feat. A Transcendent Realm 3rd level warrior did something that Xiong Ziqing, a Transcendent Realm 7th level expert, could not do. Did Yi Shiwen really have done it? The tensed crowd had some doubts in their hearts, but it was well concealed under the nervousness. Now that Bai Yin was dead, they would naturally have time now and have the opportunity to think about the event. Bai Yin's strength as the Transcendent Realm 7th level expert was ridiculous. His cultivation path remained a mystery. However, it was clear as day he could be tyrannical and outrageous one day. If Bai Yin got his hands on Purple Ghost Fire Lotus, his cultivation would skyrocket to an unprecedented realm. At that time, no one could face him. When the most critical moment between life and death was over, everyone could breathe a sigh of relief. They said that warriors had seen beyond life and death. Each would have a cheated death experience. Even Bai Hanmo had experienced many battles. The team thought they had already seen beyond life and death. However, when they were by the death's door, the despair made them cherish their life even more. Those who had not experienced the verge of death wouldn't understand how great it was to be alive. The thin figure that was still dripping with blood created the miracle. Yi Shiwen appeared towering with blood dripping drop by drop into the seawater. Yi Shiwen himself finally breathed a sigh of relief. All the power on his body seemed to be poured out at once, wholly released. Fatigue assaulted his body. After his figure swaying slightly, he fell directly from the sky. Yi Zaiwen's movements naturally evoked exclamations from the surrounding people. He finally stabilized his figure and stopped. All the power on his body was emptied. His injuries were at an alarming level. If it weren't for the Phoenix regeneration technique hanging his last breath, he couldn't hold on and probably die on the spot. This was not the most dangerous battle he had ever encountered. However, he hadn't fought like this for a long time, ever since coming to the ancient Baron's continent. His encounter with the North Mountain clan chief didn't feel like a battle for him. It should be said to be a one-sided pursuit. He kept fleeing under the North Mountain clan chief's pursuit. He had only one option left, which was to escape, not to fight. Except for that escape, the most thrilling battle was this one in which he was almost killed. In this battle, he once again felt his powerlessness. If he had now entered the Transcendent Realm 4th level, then this battle would be over without many hardships. The battle took the form of a gamble. After using all the trump cards, he killed Bai Yin in the end. He could hardly imagine how he would end up if he hesitated a little just now. Bai Yin's ultimate move was terrifying. Yi Shiwen could feel it from the energy fluctuations. It would be a decisive move. The only advantage of the Demon Qi Bomb was its short preparation time. This was also the fundamental reason why the demon Qi bomb had become Yi Zaiwen's trump card. The demon Qi bomb, which consumed a lot of power, wasn't refined in martial Dao. It depended on its overwhelming property. This kind of move was destined not to be utilized usually. At Bai Yin's peak, it would not be sufficient. Although Demon Qi Bomb could harm the Transcendent Realm's 7th level expert when he was caught off guard, the opponent was not the ordinary Transcendent Realm's 7th level. Even Xiongjiqing, a Transcendent Realm's 7th level warrior, could not withstand his attacks and suffered terribly. It was a fluke to win this time. Tianyuan Mirror's restraint on the demon race weakened because he was only a half-demon. Although it was enough to deal with the generic demonic Sea Beast clan's experts, it was ineffective when dealing with Bai Yin. However, if it were not for Tianyuan Mirror's restraint, Yi Shiwen would have died a long time ago. It would be impossible to survive. There were too many flukes in this battle. If the fight were to repeat, he would not be able to continue. He would never want to experience the matter of surrendering his life to the opponent. He desired to grasp everything in his hands. But no matter what, I still survived, isn't it? He only felt relaxed for a while. The Tianyuan mirror in his body flew out automatically. Under Yimo's command, the mirror shone blood-dyed rays, absorbing all the vigor and blood essence of Bai Yin lingering in the sky. The Tianyuan mirror burst into countless bloody rays. It seemed to be stimulated by this flesh and blood. Yi Shiwen, Bai Yin is quite unusual. Yimo's voice suddenly sounded at this time. In his flesh and blood, I discovered the demon god's bloodline. I am afraid that his ancestor is a demon god and a compelling one. Otherwise, he would not be so powerful. Yi Shiwen nodded. No wonder this Bai Yin is so terrifying. Even an expert like Xiongjiqing is outmatched in a few exchanges of blows. These creatures with inborn talents were powerful. Yi Shiwen had already learned his lesson. Due to their excellent bloodline, they would be born with stronger combat strength. Bai Yin just emerged recently. His bloodline power should be hidden. Something might have stimulated his bloodline power, making him so powerful all of a sudden. If Yi Shiwen knew about this beforehand, he would be more hesitant. At this moment, he was overwhelmed with joy. No matter how strong the bloodline was, Bai Yin would not come back to life all of a sudden. He was dead, after all. His blood essence would become the nourishment for his cultivation progress. In such a short period, Yi Shiwen had recovered with the Phoenix regeneration technique. He finally regained his calm again. He defeated Bai Yin through some luck. It did not mean that he had the strength to contend with a Transcendent Realm 7th level expert truly. Even if he could, he would rather avoid that. To defeat Bai Yin, he consumed hundreds of years of lifespan. Even if he had remarkable longevity, he could not withstand such consumption. After regaining some qi, Yi Shiwen directly fell and came to everyone's side. I need to go for a close cultivation. Everyone repeatedly nodded, saying that they would guard him until he ended the process. In this Chaos Demon Sea, one would undoubtedly feel safer with Yi Zaiwen's combat power. Moreover, after Yi Zaiwen's close cultivation ended, the overall strength of the team would rise. The situation would be beneficial for everyone. Yi Shiwen fell directly into the sea and came to the previous oceanic trench. Plucking out the purple ghost fire lotus, layers of array barriers were laid down in this oceanic trench. After being covered by Tianyuan mirror, Yi Shiwen indulged in close cultivation. He would use Bai Yin's blood essence and purple ghost fire lotus to ascend directly to the Transcendent Realm 4th level. At that time, he would have the power capable of contending with the Transcendent Realm 7th level. Even if he re-encountered Bai Yin, he would not be in a sorry state. Yi Shiwen sat in a lotus position on the seabed. She propped up a vacuum of about a kilometer around him. He sat in it as if he was the only true god in the universe. Tianyuan mirror broke down the purple ghost fire lotus gradually. It became the purest energy. Yi Mo completely absorbed the frightening demon power in the average person's eyes. When Yi Shiwen was in close cultivation, Yi Mo attained a breakthrough too. He condensed his spiritual body bit by bit. One day in the future, He might even be able to break away from Tianyuan Mirror's restrictions and become a great demon. Yi Shiwen had already promised him that he would get to evolve freely if he could materialize in the future. At the same time, Yemo was multitasking. He kept commanding the Tianyuan Mirror to make no mistakes. 2 purified torrents were injected into Yi Zaiwen's body. One was purple ghost fire lotus, and the other was the Bai Yin's vital energy and blood essence. Yi Zaiwen's body emitted rays of brilliance. Tyrant body scripture and observing person scripture absorbed these 2 energies too. At the same time, Yi Zaiwen's realm was also advancing towards the transcendent realm 3rd level peak at an astonishing speed. All of this was under Yi Zaiwen's control, steadily advancing without the slightest deviation. Transcendent realm 4th level was within his grasp. Chapter 926. Chapter 926. Tracked, everything seemed unchanged. Chaos was the eternal melody in Chaos Demon Sea. The endless darkness made people despair with no trace of hope. A month was fleeting away. Yi Shiwen had been in his close cultivation at the ocean trench for a full month. If not for the team could sense Yi Zaiwen's looming aura from time to time, everyone almost thought something wrong happened to Yi Shiwen. After all, Yi Shiwen entered close cultivation after being seriously injured. Most people would adjust their state to the best before entering close cultivation. Yi Zaiwen's hurried entry could lead to ramifications. These were all issues they had to consider. But close cultivation for a month was not enough to surprise them. Transcendent Realms warriors' lifespan was too long. It was normal to have close cultivation for hundreds of years. Of course, they would not believe that Yi Shiwen would be in close cultivation for hundreds of years at this place. It was just a month. Yao Qian had also cultivated the Transcendent Realm's 6th level peak. Through this month, she had sorted out all the insights she gained during this period. Her cultivation had also advanced by leaps and bounds. After close cultivation, she directly entered the state of a breakthrough. It was highly possible to enter the Transcendent Realm's 7th level directly. Bai Hanmo, who was typically impatient, stayed put this time. After all, Yi Shiwen had just saved their lives. He couldn't complain much. He could only cultivate patiently and continually. Soon, he was close to Transcendent Realm's 7th level. The improvement in strength was far exceeding everyone's imagination. Considering that Yi Shiwen and Yao Qian had both entered the state of close cultivation, it became unconducive for him to enter close cultivation as well. Otherwise, he would probably enter the state of close cultivation on the spot. Only Yu Cixi and Xiong Jiqing both looked at them with a wry smile. What did it mean to be a genius? Xiong Ziqing's current cultivation was higher than that of the trio, but in fact, the 3 of them were better than him in terms of potential. In addition to some uncontrollable factors such as adventures, how far a warrior could go was also related to age. Generally speaking, the older you are, the lesser the possibility of a breakthrough. Like Xiong Jiqing, although he still had a long way to go in terms of longevity, his potential was quite limited. Before the Law Manifestation Realm, there were 3 realms gap: Transcendent Realm 8th level, 9 level, half-step Law Manifestation. After attaining Transcendent Realm, one's lifespan had entered 10,000 years. There would be no growth after entering the Law Manifestation. In other words, unless one could cultivate immortality, 10,000 years might be the end of life for everyone. So unless it was someone who knew that he had no hope early, those geniuses always seize every minute and every second of their time to cultivate. It might seem it was not difficult to attain Transcendent Realm, but there was still the Law Manifestation Realm above Transcendent Realm. It appeared that achieving immortality through a higher realm was nothing but a legend. Their lifespans were already thousands of years. They were incomparable with the top geniuses like Yi Shiwen and the rest who might be 100 and 200 years old. The trio's progress was visible to their eyes. They could only be envious about it. It was something they could not match. Bai Hanmo was bored, lying on the sea surface. Some vicious beasts were approaching initially. However, after Bai Hanmo, Xiong Jiqing, and Yu Cixi beheading a couple of them, Those demonic sea beasts did not dare to come anymore. Despite their fierce and cruel nature, they had the intelligence to avoid formidable foes. Since Transcendent Realm's 7th level strength was exposed, Xiong Jiqing stopped hiding. Anyway, there was no meaning to it. In front of the unrestrained Xiong Jiqing, few demonic sea beasts could survive. Xiong Jiqing beheaded even a Transcendent Realm's 7th level demonic sea beast that came because of the smell. The kill was neat. Bai Hanmo also had a change in perception of Xiong Jiqing after the battles. It appeared that Xiong Jiqing was not weak but that Bai Yin was too strong. Even Xiong Jiqing could do nothing about it. Although Bai Hanmo was a bit careless and naive, he was not stupid. His way of treating people was relatively simple. Since Xiong Jiqing had proven his strength, Bai Hanmo would accept him. So in this month, although the three of them didn't talk much, they still got along happily, at least much better than they were at the beginning. Suddenly, Bai Hanmo raised his head directly, looked into the distance, and his expression became solemn. Xiong Jiqing noticed Bai Hanmo's anomaly. He was a bit baffled. Did Bai Hanmo notice something? But within the range of his spiritual senses, there was nothing unusual. After seeing Bai Hanmo was a dignified look, he immediately swept the spiritual senses in the direction Bai Hanmo was looking. Generally speaking, everyone's spiritual senses were limited. If one were to maintain vigilance in all directions, their alert range would be much smaller. Similarly, the range of detection would increase by focusing on one direction. Initially, his expression hadn't changed much. However, when he continued to sweep out his spiritual sense, his expression suddenly changed. He noticed a warrior group flying toward them aggressively in his detection range. Although they were too far apart with his spiritual senses barely detecting it, the information he got was enough to make the deductions. There was a sudden shock in his heart because he knew very well that he paid attention to that direction because he saw Bai Hanmo's expression. Without Bai Hanmo, he wouldn't even bother looking there. In other words, Bai Hanmo discovered the abnormality over there earlier than him, even much earlier. Bai Hanmo's strength was much lower than him. How did Bai Hanmo do it? Bai Hanmo detected the group which he couldn't notice. At this moment, Ucc still didn't notice the enemy's approach. He sighed suddenly. Ucc and He Junlong were already young talents in their bear team. Yi Zaiwen's performance was already shocking. Yao Qian was like a shining star. Even this Bai Hanmo, who did not show much strength, had such a superior side. Beware of danger! At this time, he had to remind Ucc. Ucc was still a bit at a loss. She didn't know where the danger the captain said was, but after only a moment, her face changed drastically. Within her range of perception, someone rushed over swiftly. They were about to rush in front of the team. All of them were anxious. Typically, they could turn around and left, but the team couldn't do so now. Yi Shiwen was still in close cultivation in the oceanic trench. Yao Qian was also in close cultivation. Fleeing away was not an option. Bai Hanmo leaped, flying directly into the air. His body became tense, with his eyes staring fixedly into the distance. After a while, a group of warriors had appeared in the sight of the three of them. Xiong Jiqing didn't expect that he saw a familiar figure, a figure that pained him the most, He Yulong. He Yulong brought these warriors over. There was a thump in his mind. He didn't know what to say. No wonder these people were able to chase them up. During this period, he had guessed vaguely that some enemy was chasing Yi Shiwen and others. But he still took the task resolutely. He always thought that he did a good job, hiding all traces. In a place like Chaos Demon Sea, it was impossible to be caught up by the opponent unless they had horrible luck. The probability was so small that it was almost negligible. If they did encounter the enemies, they had no other choice since it was just bad luck. However, Captain Xiong held no defense against his team member. He Yulong had learned from him for many years. He knew many bear team secret codes. At this time, his betrayal crushed all his defenses. For He Yulong, he treated him like a successor and gave him the best care. Captain Xiong would bring him along for any mission. He enjoyed the same treatment as Ucc. He did not intend to stay in the profession of the demon hunter for a lifetime. Sooner or later, he would retire. At that time, he would choose an heir between Yucisi and Hyulong. It was precise because of this that he felt so sad. In the end, my successor betrayed me. Why did this happen? He still found it unbelievable and refused to believe it was true. It's the boy with the surname Bai. Yi Shiwen should be here. You have done a good job, Hyulong. The vanishing shadow poisonous crocodile clan will not mistreat you. Yi Hong was delighted to meet with Bai Hanmo finally. After all, Bai Hanmo had a great relationship with Yi Shiwen and Yao Qian. If Bai Hanmo were here, Yi Shiwen and Yao Qian would not go far. He immediately became excited. After so long, he found Yi Zaiwen's traces. He would never let Yi Shiwen escape this time. No problem. Hyulong kept his humility, but his eyes flashed with complacency at this time. Bastard, how dare you betray us? Chapter 927. Chapter 927, Tipping Point. Bastard, how dared you betray us? Xiong Jiqing pointed to Hyulong in disbelief. His heart was torn apart by the betrayal. Captain, I didn't betray you. Everyone from the Vanishing Shadow Poisonous Crocodile clan said the lives of those 3 people have nothing to do with us. Hyulong stepped forward and said, Nothing to do with us? How naive! Xiong Jiqing sneered. Have you forgotten the rules of our bear team? If this news is spread, does our bear team still have a footing in Chaos Demon Sea? In Chaos Demon Sea, reputation was the prime thing in this chaotic place. With the bear team's strength, if there was no good reputation, the team had no way to gain a footing in Chaos Demon Sea. No one would be willing to cooperate with them at all. It would be a dead end with no other way out. This was why Xiong Jiqing agreed to cooperate with Yi Shiwen and the others. It's fine. As long as we kill them all, no one will know, said Hyulong hastily. Apparently, he had been thinking about it for a long time. He had already thought about everything in detail. When he said this, Hyulong's expression was abnormally ferocious, as if he was talking about an enemy with great hatred. Tisk, you're just someone elder brother Yi had defeated. You dare to conspire against us. Elder brother Yi is too merciful. You don't deserve to live, sneered Bai Hanmo. He recognized Hyulong at first sight. He immediately became vigilant. If Xiong Jiqing cooperated with Hyulong, then they might be in danger. Yao Qian and Yi Shiwen were both in close cultivation. No one could deal with the Vanishing Shadow Poisonous Crocodile clan's expert. Fortunately, Xiong Ziqing's reaction made him understand the situation. It did not happen as he imagined. Hyulong did not go through Xiong Jiqing and called the shots on his own. Shut up. Do you think you can leave safely today? Hyulong yelled with a distorted expression. He was holding back his anger. You all are going to die today. Don't even think of leaving. All his anger poured out towards Bai Hanmo. If his eyes could kill people, Bai Hanmo would have been cut by slashes. However, it was a pity that Bai Hanmo ignored this gaze. He didn't care. Hyulong, I didn't expect you to become like this. Xiong Jiqing pointed at Hyulong and growled with a bit of distress and disappointment. You're unscrupulous. Have you forgotten what I have taught you? What's going on? Who the hell is he? He humiliated me, and yet you don't help me but them. I'm the one disappointed instead. Hyulong's face was hideous like a madman. He had never been humiliated before. Yi Shiwen taught him a miserable lesson. He couldn't even sustain an attack. In the end, Yi Zaiwen's words made him faint too. In this case, Yi Shiwen must be one of the best to achieve such a feat. Yi Shiwen stomped all his self-esteem, like trampling on trash. What drove him crazy the most was that Xiong Jiqing didn't choose him against a person who humiliated him so badly. Instead, he decided to help Yi Shiwen. For him, this was simply the most unbearable thing. He felt that he was the one who was betrayed. He only thought that the whole world owed him. At this moment, his only thought was to vent out his rage. The Vanishing Shadow Poisonous Crocodile Clan expert came to him. Both sides hit it off at once. He joined with the Vanishing Shadow Poisonous Crocodile Clan experts in pursuit. Great! All my efforts to teach you have turned you into this. Xiong Jiqing blurted with a twisted smile due to the overwhelming anger. He now discovered that the gap between He Yulong and Yi Shiwen was like heaven and earth. Not only because of the difference in combat strength, but it was also even more so in terms of being a person. Now, in his opinion, even the most ignorant Bai Hanmo was 10,000 times more sensible than He Yulong. Fortunately, he had not handed the bear team over to him yet. Otherwise, the team would be done for. Stop wasting time on this nonsense. Since these people are stubborn, then kill them all, said Yi Hong impatiently at this time. He was only interested in Yi Shiwen. If he couldn't break him into pieces, his journey here had no meaning. Captain, you still have time to take your stance here now, He Yulong persuaded. Don't sacrifice yourself for that guy. It's too stupid. It's not worth it. Seeing He Yulong said this, Xiong Jiqing had utterly given up any hope for him. His disappointed expression was beyond words. If this is the case, then there's no need to talk. Xiong Jiqing shook his head. His expression was firm. There was a saying, do not work with people of different beliefs. The bear team held this principle closely. Breaking faith and treachery might not pose a problem short term. But a soulless team would disband sooner or later. The bear team was his life effort. Ruining it was the same as running his life. Since you don't repent and still want to help that guy, don't blame me for being cruel. He Yulong's face was distorted. His hatred for Yi Shiwen turned him blind. He only had disgust for the former captain in his heart. Senior, there's no need to talk to him anymore. Bai Hanmo shook his head and said. He released his aura with his expression becoming serious. He had never been so serious. Fight with all you have. Tisk asterisk, interesting. I like it. I want to tear your flesh and blood piece by piece and eat it. The black-cloaked figure laughed wickedly. He opened his cloak. It turned out to be a demonic sea beast warrior with a head resembling a lizard. It was not a sea clan but a demonic sea beast clan because the demonic aura emanating from him was unmistakable. Everyone could feel it. Let me introduce myself. I am Irui, one of the 4 warriors under the prince. The demonic sea beast expert introduced himself. Tell me the whereabouts of Yi Shiwen honestly. Otherwise, you will suffer a fate worse than death. His tone was wicked chill. Why didn't the prince come here in person? Bai Hanmo asked. During this period, he also knew some of the grievances between Yi Shiwen and the Vanishing Shadow Poisonous Crocodile clan. The hatred was as deep as the sea. Yi Shiwen came to the Chaos Demon Sea, to a large extent, was to avoid the Vanishing Shadow Poisonous Crocodile clan's pursuit. Among the younger generation, the prince headed the Vanishing Shadow Poisonous Crocodile clan expert. I'm just disposing of a few bugs. The prince doesn't need to come in person. Irui sneered without taking Bai Hanmo's words to heart. In his mind, the prince had status way beyond them. Why would he come in person? In his heart, the prince was like a god, and the prince's enemy was his enemy. Let's skip the talking and just fight. Bai Hanmo yelled. At the same time, he was slightly relieved. If Crown Prince Crocodile came, then they were dead. Despite his carefree and indifferent attitude, Bai Hanmo wasn't an arrogant fool. Among the younger generation, Crown Prince Crocodile was definitely at the forefront. There were very few people who could contend with the prince, at least not him. If Bai Yin at Transcendent Realm 7th level was already terrifying, then Crown Prince Crocodile was a terrifying existence beyond this. Unless it was the unparalleled sword, it was impossible to suppress Crown Prince Crocodile at all. Since you refuse to say it, then all shall die. At this time, Irui instantly rushed towards Bai Hanmo. The terrifying force tore through the vast sky. A black figure went straight to Bai Hanmo. The terrifying power of Transcendent Realm 7th level was at full display. Bang! Another figure blocked Irui's figure. It was none other than Xiong Jiqing. "I'm your opponent," said Xiong Jiqing coldly. The power that belonged to Transcendent Realm's 7th level was released entirely in an instant. The two of them were like two big mountains. They smashed into each other hard and set off a boundless wave of air, sweeping out in all directions. Can you stop me? Yurei let out a cold snort at this moment, an intense killing intent flashed in his eyes. The clash of two Transcendent Realm's 7th level experts escalated the scene. Their battle continued up in the sky. On the other side, Ucc faced Yulong. I didn't expect that the thief within us would make us so vulnerable. In the end, it will be you who betrayed us. The captain treats you so well. He taught you to become the next captain of our bear team. In the end, you thank him like that? Ucc scolded. The next captain. Does he treat me to like a successor? He allowed someone to humiliate me so badly. Is this his treatment? Yulong roared. Don't think that I don't know. He has already planned to make you the successor. Everything is biased towards you. You are beyond help. You have fallen too deeply, said Ucc coldly, not wanting to argue further. Am beyond help? Humph, I don't need anyone to help me anyway. You lots are dead. The bear team will be mine. I will tell everyone that you all died in the hands of the demonic sea beasts and Chaos Demon Sea. Who will find out what happens? Yulong laughed aloud. His expression was hideous. Otherwise, his cultivation realm would be more than that. The adventure was fruitful to him. This kind of experience could release his accumulated potential perfectly. He was unmatched to Yihong during the first encounter. However, he had no reluctance against Yihong with his Transcendent Realm's 6th level peak. Even if not because Yishiwen and Yao Qian were already in close cultivation, forcing him to omit entering close cultivation, he would have attained Transcendent Realm's 7th level some time ago. Although Transcendent Realm's 7th level and 6th level had only one level of difference, the difference in combat strength should not be undermined. All in all, Transcendent Realm's 6th level was at the Transcendent Realm intermediate caliber, but Transcendent Realm's 7th level was considered Transcendent Realm late caliber. It was a significant gap. But even so, Bai Hanmo was not intimidated at all, waving the white sword in his hand and rushing up again. Yihong's eyes became a little dignified. Bai Hanmo was more difficult to fight than he thought, and even more challenging to kill. Bai Hanmo's combat strength had exceeded his imagination. Although he had witnessed Bai Hanmo's combat strength once before, it was not so strong at that time. However, his hesitation was only for an instant. Immediately, the steel claws in his hand grabbed Yishiwen again. Under the control of his 5 fingers, he instantly tore the sky, forming a terrifying air current, and swept it down. Jade-breaking demon beast claw! Yihong's hands grew bigger with dense chi entangled on them in the sky. Jade layers surfaced on the steel claws equipped on both his hands. He grabbed toward Bai Hanmo directly. It was paramount to deliver the fiercest attack once he took a move. After recognizing that Bai Hanmo was not as easy to deal with as he imagined initially, he mustered all his strength to deliver a full outblow. He would not allow Bai Hanmo to turn the table like Yishiwen did. After suffering a loss in Yi Zaiwen's hands, he was cautious. He would never let the same thing happen again. As for Bai Hanmo, who was facing this attack, he intensified the terrifying sword light, forming a white rainbow, and slashed out directly. Boom! The two terrifying powers produced an explosion in midair. It set off a monstrous wave, forming a rain in the sky. Facing Yihong at Transcendent Realm's 6th level peak, Bai Hanmo did not lose out at all. Generally speaking, everyone has their limits. Different warriors have entirely different limits. The talented one could absorb more power. That was the reason for the difference in combat strengths despite being in the same realm. The fight between the two was far more oppressive than the average Transcendent Realm's 6th level expert. Yihong sent out water waves, dashed straight up, and rushed to Bai Hanmo. His physical strength was too tyrannical. In addition to having suffered a loss in Yi Zaiwen's hands, he had not suffered a loss in anyone else's hands. This time, he planned to utilize his tyrannical body cultivation to crush Bai Hanmo to death. The claw phantoms occupied the entire sky. The attacks streaked across the sky and landed on Bai Hanmo. Bai Hanmo stepped back a little. He warped the sword light in the air on himself. When the claw phantoms caught on him, the sword lights had crushed them all. These sword lights were mighty in both offense and defense. "Brat, you have a great talent. If you become my follower, your future will be limitless." Yi Hong roared and even thought of conquering his enemy. He was envious of how the prince conquered and recruited the demonic seed beast experts as his 4 warriors. Generally speaking, the powerhouse had many followers around them, especially those in major clans or forces. Many people wanted to be the powerhouse followers, but how could he recruit just about anyone? Not everyone could be the powerhouse's followers. Generally speaking, the more influential the person, the stronger the follower. These followers might be their admirers or the enemies the powerhouse had defeated. These demonic sea beast experts became the prince's followers because they were defeated in the prince's hands. Eventually, they had become his followers. In Yi Hong's opinion, the Bai Hanmo in front of him was qualified to be his follower. He was talented and strong. If he could have such a follower by his side, not only could he resolve many things, but most importantly, it would improve his reputation. "Become your follower? What are you? I'm afraid you don't have the qualifications to make me your follower," Bai Hanmo yelled. The sword light in his hand became more intense. He broke off the claw phantoms and darted toward Yi Hong directly. Bai Hanmo progressed rapidly. On the other hand, Yi Hong had excellent talents. In terms of background, it far exceeded him. With Yi Hong's tyrannical body, it was easy for him to become restrained in front of Yi Hong. If he wanted to resolve this unfavorable situation, he must be the first to attack. The fundamental essence of the sword was offense rather than defense. The sword user would never cower. They ran by the doctrine, with one sword in his hand, he would conquer the world. The sword in his hand could defeat anything. Stubborn. Today marks the death of Yi Shiwen and Yao Qian. "Are you going to die along with them?" said Yi Hong viciously, not giving up the opportunity to convince Bai Hanmo. It was not typical to come across such a follower. If it weren't for driving Bai Hanmo to a dead end today, he wouldn't have considered convincing Bai Hanmo. After becoming his follower, he naturally had a way to deal with Bai Hanmo. By that time, Bai Hanmo was within his grasp already. He had all his ways to control Bai Hanmo. "Ha ha, stupid crocodile. Do you think I'm someone like you, a coward that betrays your friends? I won't do this kind of thing." Bai Hanmo yelled and fought fiercely with Yi Hong. "Damn it, stubborn human." Yi Hong gave up entirely trying to convince Bai Hanmo. In his eyes, a fierce light flickered. Since he couldn't put Bai Hanmo for his use, he would not allow Bai Hanmo to live. The claw phantoms in his hand flickered. A monstrous wave that was under his control swept across the opponent. It morphed into a massive crocodile capable of devouring the sky and lunged at Bai Hanmo. Heaven and earth were trembling in front of the vicious crocodile. Chapter 929. Chapter 929, Bouncing Back from Desperation. "Trash, I will end your life." Bai Hanmo sneered again and again. The white jade long sword in his hand emitted rays of brilliance. He was like the deity of the sword Tao. As he waved his sword down, the entire sky appeared as though being split apart. There was an earth-shattering collision between the two. The massive crocodile phantom slammed into Bai Hanmo's long sword light. The terrifying and fierce light exploded. The white jade sword in Bai Hanmo's hand seemed magical, blooming with endless brilliance as if to destroy the world. This white jade long sword was not simple, but Yi Hong was not a simpleton in the same way. That massive crocodile was also unprecedentedly mighty. Two terrifying forces collided fiercely in the air. Countless air collapsed in an instant. The endless brilliant divine light, mixed with sword light, slammed together and danced around wildly. The air collapsed layer by layer in everyone's eyes. "He!" Bai Hanmo yelled violently. The sword light instantly penetrated the massive and fierce crocodile. It immediately turned into a water tide in the sky. These waters were also not ordinary. Every drop was heavy, and it struck Bai Hanmo in an instant. Although Bai Hanmo was able to block some of it, he couldn't block all the water droplets. Boom! 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 Bai Hanmo let out a muffled groan. These extremely heavy water droplets knocked him away. A mouthful of blood spurted out. There was still a gap between his strength and Yihong. Although his potential exceeded Yihong, it was clear that his potential had not been fully transformed into strength. In other words, he had wasted his potential because of his character and playful nature. Bai Hanmo was blasted away for a distance before he could barely stop himself. He fixed his eyes on Yihong. Only then did he regret it. If he had been working hard since the start, the situation would not turn out like this. Even if he could enter the Transcendent Realm's 7th level, he could easily kill Yihong. He would not end up in such a sorry state. Only then did he finally understand what Yao Qian said. He was indeed a genius. It was hard to encounter a worthy opponent in the same realm. Among his peers, there were very few having the speed faster than him. He could outmatch most people. In his life and the world he came into contact with, he was destined to encounter not only warriors whose strength was much lower than him, but also opponents whose strength was much higher than him. By then, it would be the time for the real test. Although Yihong's strength was far from being much more robust than his, even a slight gap could cause fatal consequences in this high-level battle, not to mention such a noticeable gap. Under this blow, Bai Hanmo was blown away again and spurted with blood, but Yihong did not stop. Although his strength was more potent than Bai Hanmo, it was only slightly rather than an overwhelming advantage. Bai Hanmo made an all-out effort to fight him. Yihong also suffered minor shock. However, he didn't stop at this time but chased out again. A territory quickly spread out, enveloping Bai Hanmo in it. I offer you a chance, yet you still hang on your death wish. Why don't you cherish it? Go to hell! Yihong laughed aloud. In his opinion, Bai Hanmo, who had fallen into his territory, was already at a dead end. There shouldn't be many people like Yishiwen who could forcibly break apart the territory. Stop your nonsense! You're not worthy of subduing me? Bai Hanmo sneered. He appeared like a madman in his sorry state, but his pride still shot to the sky. He couldn't care less about anything at this time. His only plan was to delay time, no matter if it was for Yao Qian or Yishiwen. Every minute delayed was previous. He got to delay Yihong and the rest. Otherwise, it would be a disaster for Yishiwen and Yao Qian in close cultivation. The aftermath of the battle was tremendous. He believed that Yishiwen and Yao Qian could feel that even in close cultivation. What he had to do now was to wait for them to exit from their close cultivation. He swore to hold these enemies and not to let them rush into the oceanic trench. Bai Hanmo flew out suddenly, and once again approached Yihong. In the heavy water territory, his speed was undoubtedly slower. The droplets of heavy water were all over the sky. The strong wind accompanied each hulking droplet. Once it slapped on a person's body, it was equivalent to being bombarded with a punch. The corner of Bai Hanmo's mouth spilled blood, but he had no way to stop it. At this time, he had to retreat to hold on. Since you want to die, then I will fulfill your death wish, Yihong sneered. All of the power in his body began to boil and scattered all at once. He stepped forward. The heavy water territory seemed to be under intense stimulation. It began to magnify crazily. In the heavy water territory, the only law he had was the law of gravity. Under the law of gravity, Bai Hanmo could hardly move an inch. Come here, trash! Bai Hanmo roared, looking at Yihong with bloodshot eyes. On the other hand, the two battlefield situations were in crisis, especially Xiong Ziqing's battlefield. He was beaten into retreat. Although they were both in Transcendent Realm's 7th level and Yi Rui's strength was far inferior to Bai Yin, Xiong Ziqing had no way to resist. Yi Rui turned out to be quite tyrannical. He had already entered the Transcendent Realm's 7th level peak, which was much stronger than Xiong Ziqing. Captain Xiong directly vomited blood amidst his retreat. Fortunately, since there was no overwhelming advantage similar to Bai Yin, there was no fatal threat for a while despite Xiong Jiqing continually retreating. However, the whole situation was terrible. On the other side, the battle between Yu Cixi and He Yulong was the fiercest. Yu Cixi was angry that He Yulong had betrayed their bear team, which caused the dangerous situation to happen and almost wiped out the entire team. She even thought that He Yulong had lost his mind to utilize dirty tricks to get the bear team. He Yulong had long been blinded by hatred. He was too ambitious, just thinking that after killing Xiong Jiqing and Yu Cixi, he could gain control of the bear team. The past friendship worth nothing in his opinion at this time. It was nothing but a joke. It was an intense battle. The horrifying exchange of blows sent out flesh and blood everywhere. Between the two sides, there were no reservations. Each punch had the intention to kill. Both were in a sorry state with mutilated wounds everywhere, even with some of their bones broken. Similar to the situation on Xiong Ziqing's side, He Yulong also had the absolute upper hand. Since he was Xiong Ziqing's preferred successor previously, Xiong Jiqing diverted all efforts and resources in the emphasis of growing He Yulong's strength. In this life-and-death battle, He Yulong defeated Yu Cixi gradually. He had bloodshot eyes due to the pain in his body and the ambition in his heart. At this time, he could no longer care less about friendship. He had utterly dwelled in the idea of beheading her. Yu Cixi was in a berserk state. She fought without thinking of her life and death. She was determined to do it for Xiong Jiqing, kill He Yulong, and eliminate the team's betrayer. Ha ha ha, it's useless. You are dead today. Anyone who dares to stand in front of me will die. At this time, He Yulong's eyes were bloodshot. He yelled frantically. You must die, He Yulong. Today, I must eliminate the betrayer in the team for the captain before I die. Yu Cixi went berserk. Her obsession was to eradicate the team's betrayer. This obsession supported her to fight until now. Both had cooperated and fought side by side for many years. They knew each other's fighting styles and even what tricks each other had. Naturally, in front of this person, there was no opening to be opportunistic. The only way was a direct attack without considering any opportunistic tricks. Since they knew each other too well, a head-to-head battle was the most efficient. Boom! 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 The fist fight was surreal. Once again, both were blown away from each other. This time, Yu Cixi could not get up again. After He Yulong severely injured her just now, her breath was so weak. Her vitality began to lose quickly, unable to get up anymore. Ha ha! You have a death wish. You dare to go against me. The bear team is mine. No one can get involved. He Yulong laughed out loud with blood overflowing from the corner of his mouth. As he laughed wildly while continually coughing up blood, the scene was horrifying. He eradicated a long-standing enemy in one move. He Yulong stood up in difficulty. Although standing up was tough, he was much stronger than Yu Cixi. The chi on his body boiled again. He darted toward Yu Cixi to kill her. Suddenly, a dazzling sword light pierced the vast sky, slashed through the sky and the earth in an instant, and came in He Yulong's direction. He Yulong, who was already severely injured, was shocked. He quickly moved away, hiding in his surroundings. But this sword light was swift. Even if he was in the peak state, he could not avoid it, let alone he was now in a state of serious injury. Puff! In an instant, the sword light pierced He Yulong's neck and tore an opening. He Yulong's head slipped directly from his body. Chapter 930. Chapter 930. Stunning the audience, Yi Hong directly pushed Bai Hanmo into an uphill battle. Bai Hanmo had his speed dropped due to the heavy water territory. It became much worse than before. Without speed, Bai Hanmo lacked ways to launch attacks. Today marks your death anniversary date. Eventually, your life will be in my grasp. Yi Hong sneered. The steel claws on Yi Hong's hand burst out limitless light as if it could tear the world apart. After all, the The steel claws were an excellent human-level martial art instrument. It was not an exaggeration to say that it could tear the sky apart. The space that the claws grasped was distorted with 5 lines drawn in the sky. "But since you are here, then Yi Shiwen and Yao Qian should be around here too," Yi Hong sneered and said. "I want to see if they will come out when you die. I will raze everything to the ground." "I don't believe that Yi Shiwen will not come out." Bai Hanmo was surprised, having the weakness of his side pointed out. At this time, if Yi Hong were to go all out in running this place, it wouldn't take long for him to damage the oceanic trench where Yi Shiwen hid. That would be the most terrible situation. With Yi Hong's ability and character, it was inevitable that this would be his next move. I have to do everything I can to stop him. "You are full of nonsense!" Bai Hanmo sneered, wielded the white jade long sword in his hand, and rushed out. The attack directly pierced the void, splitting countless air. Bai Hanmo appeared formidable in this strike, with the air trembling. "Death Wish!" Yi Hong imbued the boundless divine light directly into his steel claws and slammed into Bai Hanmo in midair. Countless air which the steel claws passed by had exploded. A storm of destruction swept out. Yi Hong's relentless attack was unstoppable. Bai Hanmo retreated with another mouthful of blood spurted out. It appeared he had suffered a fatal injury. Yi Hong was overjoyed and chased forward directly, approaching Bai Hanmo. A smug smile flashed at the corner of Bai Hanmo's mouth. The already weak arm suddenly tensed up. The long sword hand pierced directly into Yi Hong's body. This surprise caught Yi Hong entirely off guard. He didn't expect that Bai Hanmo still had the strength to inflict severe injury on him. Or, to be more precise, Bai Hanmo would fake injury to lure him. After tricking him over, Yi Hong suffered heavy losses in the sword attack. After a severe sword thrust on Yi Hong, Bai Hanmo was delighted. His scheme was the final resort. In the heavy water territory, Yi Hong was the only true god. Under the gravity, there was no way for Bai Hanmo to utilize his speed. In this case, it was better to lure Yi Hong in approaching him. "You dare to hurt me! It will make you suffer!" Yi Hong's expression was distorted. He went mad for being injured by someone he belittled before. Yi Hong laughed angrily, grabbing forward with the steel claws in his hand. This grasp collapsed an area of space, making it terrifying. The steel claw's speed was so fast that it instantly caught Bai Hanmo's body. Boom! Bai Hanmo's chest was caught, and it was severely mutilated. His figure flew out directly, suffering severe damage. Bai Hanmo was blasted out and flew directly for dozens of miles before he stopped. Yi Hong's steel claws tore apart flesh pieces with blood still dripping on it. The impact broke many of Bai Hanmo's bones too. "I have never been in such a sorry state before," Bai Hanmo chuckled. A tyrannical aura on his body started to boil. His skin began to turn into the color of jade. "However, only death awaits you." He seemed to have made up his mind and let go of some restraints. This battle incited his anger. His next move would be merciless. Only by beheading Yi Hong could he get rid of his hatred. Yi Hong shuddered when he saw Bai Hanmo's action, although he didn't know the exact reason. He could feel an oppressive aura surging on Bai Hanmo. He didn't know what Bai Hanmo was planning, but his instinct warned him to stop Bai Hanmo immediately. If the situation continued, he might be in danger. "I will win in the end. It is undeniable that both you and Yi Shiwen have amazing talents. Even in the future, I will not be able to contend with you. But so what? You both have not fully developed yet. Only death awaits." Water attribute cheese fluctuated continuously on Yi Hong's body. His expression was icy. It was undeniable that at this moment, he felt fear as if he had encountered Yi Shiwen, who had turned the table before. The memory Yi Shiwen left him at that time was so deep. He never even thought that his territory would be torn apart one day. If Yi Shiwen grew to the same level as him one day, it would be a disaster. Yi Shiwen, who had a terrifying combat power, could crush him as though he was a minute ant. Therefore, he would not sit still while watching this happen. In his mind, geniuses weren't intimidating. He had witnessed many geniuses perished. For him, there was no place for this kind of warrior. Their only destination should be death. With this thought in mind, he continued to take action, to chase and kill Yi Shiwen, and vowed not to stop. Facing Bai Hanmo brought up his previous memory in facing Yi Shiwen, making him panicked. Unfortunately, you have no chance. Today, you must die. Yi Hong's expression was a bit cold and hideous. Cough. Bai Hanmo kept coughing up blood and said with a smile, Trash, you are still far behind from defeating me. Stubborn. Yi Hong sealed the severe wound on his body which Bai Hanmo's sword inflicted. Immediately, he darted in Bai Hanmo's direction. Am unreconciled with this. If I have the chance again, I will cultivate with hard work. I will never let this kind of trash kill me. Bai Hanmo was unwilling, shouting in his heart. He was unwilling to lose. With his eyes closed, he was powerless to resist this wave of attack. He hated it so much in his heart. He hated himself for not cultivating vigorously in the past. This would lead to such a situation. If he cultivated well and attained Transcendent Realm 7th level, or even Transcendent Realm 8th level, everything would be no doubt a piece of cake. But in his heart, he had never regretted this trip. He acted like a child in his style, and so on. However, he understood what he wanted. Despite the carefree personality, he was not a fool. He knew what he was doing, and what he wanted to do. Although life was precious, some things were more important than life. Although he was unwilling to die at this time, he never regretted it. A violent shout came out from the seabed. An unparalleled sword aura swooshed out. The glaring sword light enveloped this area. The sea waves where the sword aura passed were automatically slashed in half. This sword aura, compared to the sword aura issued by Bai Hanmo just now, was many times tyrannical. At this time, it bombarded Yi Hong fiercely. When Yi Hong, who was still acting arrogant, faced this sword aura, he was like a child. All his defenses were directly torn apart. Sword aura impacted his physical body in an instant. Yi Hong suddenly felt that a horrible sword aura running rampant in his body. His figure was launched away into the sky. He immediately spat out a mouthful of blood. Several sword auras appeared at the same time. Those demonic sea beast experts in black cloaks, who wanted to hunt Yi Shiwen down, were instantly beheaded. Their strength was not even as good as Bai Hanmo and Yi Hong. At this time, they were completely vulnerable, thus allowing the sword aura to blast them into clusters of blood mist. Who? At this time, only Yi Hong could barely raise his head and shout. A terrifying aura in the sea instantly soared. An unimaginable tyrannical aura swept out in the sea. The terrifying aura separated the seawater. A cyan figure flew out and stepped on the thin air under the sword light. How is it possible? How could it be you? Yi Hong said in disbelief as he looked at the cyan figure. That figure was none other than Yi Shiwen, whom he was hunting. Yi Hong stared at Yi Shiwen dumbfounded, unable to believe that it turned out to be Yi Shiwen. The feeling was different from the time when Yi Shiwen stayed low. Yi Shiwen revealed his sharp demeanor openly like he was an unsheathed sword. Anyone dared to glimpse over would feel vulnerable as though something was going to stab into them at any second. Moreover, Yi Shiwen grew stronger after the advancement. Although the previous Yi Shiwen was dreadful, it was not too big of a threat in the end. Yi Shiwen defeated Yi Hong with much effort in the past rather than how easy it looked at this moment. He killed a group of demonic sea beast experts with ease too. These were the Prince's Guard. They belonged to the elite among the experts. Although they were not as good as Irui, they were the backbones. However, Yi Shiwen dealt with them without even sweating. These demonic sea beast experts could not fight back at all. Tian notes, I made an error. Starting from chapter 920, the experts following Yi Hong were sea demon clans rather than demonic sea beasts clans. Chapter 931. Chapter 931. Transcendent Realm 4th level. This terrifying combat power immediately frightened him. He suddenly realized that the former enemy that he swore to hunt down had become so alarming. Seeing Yi Shiwen undergoing a change with the gap akin to heaven and earth, he immediately thought of something. Did Yi Shiwen attain a breakthrough? Relatively speaking, the changes from Transcendent Realm 3rd level to 4th level did not seem much. Although there were some changes entering the 4th level from the 3rd level in the case of Yi Hong, it was not a shocking upgrade. However, the person who completed this transformation was Yi Shiwen. At Transcendent Realm 3rd level, Yi Shiwen could already contend with Transcendent Realm 6th level expert, let alone now. Since he attained Transcendent Realm 4th level, he had reached the Transcendent Realm intermediate stage, throwing away his past self at Transcendent Realm initial stage. His combat power had undergone earth-shaking changes. This terrified Yi Hong the most. Impossible! How could it be you? How could you have a breakthrough in such a short period? At this time, Yi Hong was still stunned, unable to believe the facts before him. At this time, he remembered the file about Yi Shiwen in the Vanishing Shadow Poisonous Crocodile clan. It said that every time Yi Shiwen emerged, his strength was fundamentally different from the past. Each advancement involved a considerable gap. It was accurate to say that the clan had been watching Yi Zaiwen's growth. Faced with this baffling scene, there were only two explanations. One explanation was that Yi Shiwen was hiding his strength. Next, he could break through continuously. Hiding one's true strength wasn't surprising, but if it were a constant breakthrough, that would be genuinely shocking. It indicated that Yi Shiwen had a remarkable talent. At least, no one could continuously ascend like him in such a short time. Such an enemy was paramount to be killed in the cradle. Continuous failure would allow this terrifying enemy to grow to such an ominous realm. It was a fatal threat for the entire clan. Yi Shiwen did not answer Yi Hong but stared at Yi Hong coldly and said, "Everyone who comes here today will have to die." Yi Zaiwen's palms spread out with a ball of flame materialized in it. It instantly turned into a fiery saber aura and shot out immediately. Yi Hong, who had suffered a terrible injury, couldn't stop it at all. He was instantly cut in half. Both his spirit and the body were slashed in half. Everyone stared at this scene in a daze. A Transcendent Realm 6th level proud talent could not even stop a slash coming from Yi Shiwen. Yi Hong was instantly beheaded. For everyone, it was like a miracle. Especially by Hanmo, he had been dragging the fight with Yi Hong to the present, so he knew Yi Hong's combat power most clearly. Naturally, he grasped how terrifying Yi Hong was. Even if he tried his best, he couldn't deal with Yi Hong. Yi Shiwen slashed the opponent into half without breaking a sweat. It was the very same formidable enemy he struggled with. Yi Zaiwen's combat power is unimaginable. Yi Zaiwen's first slash in injuring Yi Hong mortally seemed to have the element of ambush. Bai Hanmo knew it well that Yi Hong was still outmatched in a head-on confrontation. The combat power difference between the two was too far apart. That slash intimidated even the heaven and earth. It appeared unstoppable. After his breakthrough, Yi Shiwen had turned out so strong. At this time, only He Yulong and Yi Rui left. He Yulong was going to deliver the final killing blow on UCC. However, after seeing such a terrifying figure appeared, he immediately fled frantically without hesitation. He flew towards the distance, wanting to escape. Yi Shiwen just smiled coldly. He waved his hand. A sharp saber aura streaked across the vast sky and chased He Yulong. Puff! Accompanied with the sound of saber aura entering the flesh, He Yulong was directly cut in half on the spot. Blood painted the blue sky. The mutilated corpse fell straight from the sky. Although he hated He Yulong, who betrayed them, Xiong Jiqing still showed a sad expression when he saw Yi Shiwen beheading He Yulong. He opened his mouth but was unable to utter a word. He wanted to plead for He Yulong, but he also realized it was inappropriate at all. In the end, his eyes flickered a few times, and he didn't say anything. However, seeing that Yi Shiwen had already exited from close cultivation, he was slightly relieved. He knew the horror laid within Yi Shiwen. This time, he would stand firmly on Yi Zaiwen's side. In addition to the bear team's honor, Yi Zaiwen's terrifying power was an important reason. As long as he could stick to the end when Yi Shiwen exited close cultivation, then he would be worry-free. Although Yi was tough, the opponent was not as scary as Bai Yin. "Are you Yi Shiwen?" Yi's eyes were cold. He stretched out his crimson tongue and licked his lips, giving off the appearance when encountering a prey. "It's effortless to get to you. Are you so sure about defeating me?" said Yi Shiwen lightly. "You're just a minute human being. How dare you go against my master? It is God's will to kill you today. You must die." Yi sneered. "These trash deserves their death. I alone am enough to take your head, and you all too." "You alone? It just so happens I had my breakthrough. I haven't gone all out in a battle yet," replied Yi Shiwen nonchalantly. The thick chi in Yi Ziwen's body created terrifying ripples with him in the center. The terrifying momentum instantly stirred up endless waves on the sea. At this time, Yi became a little vigilant. This Yi Shiwen is different from the initial information. He's no longer at Transcendent Realm 3rd level but attained the Transcendent Realm 4th level. But what shocked him was that Yi Shiwen was only Transcendent Realm 4th level, and yet this human exuded an aura that trembled his heart. Most importantly, the vigilant Xiong Jiqing was watching him. Although Yi did not bat an eye on Xiong Jiqing, it might lead to irreversible consequences if Xiong Jiqing suddenly intervened at the most critical time. Yi Shiwen had just stepped into the Transcendent Realm 4th level. He did not have the time to have total control over himself. His momentum was soaring like an unsheathed sword. After entering the Transcendent Realm 4th level, Yi Shiwen sensed the earth-shaking changes. This was a power that he could not muster at Transcendent Realm 3rd level. There was a deep dividing line between the Transcendent Realm 3rd level and the Transcendent Realm 4th level. Changes from Transcendent Realm Initial to Transcendent Realm Intermediate were even greater than the changes in the first 3 levels of Transcendent Realm. If he had only entered Transcendent Realm 3rd level from 2nd level at this time, his combat strength could not contend with Yi, who was already at Transcendent Realm 7th level. Transcendent Realm 6th level and Transcendent Realm 7th level had a great dividing line in terms of Transcendent Realm Intermediate to late. Yi Shiwen had no idea how strong he became. With Bai Yin's blood essence and purple ghost fire lotus, he entered the Transcendent Realm 4th level and successfully ascended to the Transcendent Realm 4th level peak. After entering the Transcendent Realm 4th level, it would take a long time for cultivation accumulation. However, Yi Shiwen reached the peak at the level after assimilating the energy from Bai Yin's blood essence and purple ghost fire lotus. At this moment, his realm had become stable as though it was the fruit of cultivation and hard work. This significant improvement was also why so many demonic sea beast experts fought for purple ghost fire lotus. These purple ghost fire lotus efficacy was heaven-defying. It could steadily help the demonic sea beast with the demon clan lineage to reach the next level without any ramifications. Although Yi Shiwen was not of the demon clan lineage, he had a tremendous advantage compared to those with the demon clan lineage due to the Tianyuan mirror. Yi Ziwen's arm was quickly wrapped in a raging fire. He waved his arm, slashing out a terrifying saber aura directly. The saber aura crushed all directions, collapsing the air entwined in the sky. It was like tearing the sky forcibly. "Humph!" Yi snorted coldly. He stepped out and sent a massive water spear directly. It glinted with endless brilliance and blasted down directly against the oncoming saber aura. Boom! Water spear and saber aura slammed into each other in midair. The horrifying fluctuations quickly swept out an unimaginable terrifying storm in all directions. After the violent collision, Yi Ziwen's saber aura directly cut through the water spear, blasted it apart, and turned it into rain in the sky. Unabated, the saber aura went straight to Yi once again. Yi's figure dashed away. He could barely avoid this deadly saber aura. The saber aura rubbed his body, and blood sprayed out directly. Yi was immediately shocked. Yi Ziwen's strength was so terrifying, much more frightening than he thought. In the previous matchup, he suffered a terrible loss. Yi Shiwen almost killed him on the spot, sending him into 2 halves. If he hadn't reacted quickly enough, he would die in Yi Zaiwen's hands on the spot. At this time, Yi Shiwen had already approached. His speed was swift. When Yi Rui felt the danger, Yi Shiwen had already appeared just right in front. The fiery long saber in his hand seemed capable of burning everything, crisp clean. The saber aura slashed across the sky and slammed at Yi Rui's body. Yi Zaiwen's fiery saber aura instantly slashed away all the aura barriers on Yi Rui's body. Yi Rui summoned countless demon auras and transformed them into multiple little demon heads. These demon heads darted towards Yi Shiwen. Chapter 932. Chapter 932. Another trouble popping, and soon the demon aura surrounding Yi Rui was depleted in an instant. It turned into little demon heads and shot towards Yi Shiwen. Each demon head was hideous. Their features were blue faces and fangs, just like Azura in the underworld. Most people with weak minds would be frightened to death. Yi Zaiwen's expression remained unchanged. All the pores on his body opened, spewing fiery saber auras. He was like a fire that burned in the sky. Those little demon heads rushed over were either burned to death or cut in half, unable to get close to Yi Zaiwen's body. The attacks blasted Yi Rui away. Only then did he finally understand that he could not judge the person's combat strength in front of him based on the cultivation realm. Although Yi Shiwen was only at the Transcendent Realm 4th level, this human had the terrifying combat strength that could defeat him. Yi Shiwen was peerless among the Transcendent Realm 4th level warriors. Never mind the task assigned to him by Crown Prince Crocodile this time. Surviving through this ordeal posed a challenge. Thinking of this, he disregarded his injuries and ran away frantically into the distance. The rest of the three were dumbfounded. A Transcendent Realm 7th level peak warrior flurried away. Such a scene was unimaginable. Is he still the Yi Shiwen that takes so much effort to defeat Baiyin? They all saw how sorry of the state Yi Shiwen was at that time. It took some luck to defeat Baiyin. Otherwise, he could not contend with Baiyin. But now, the same Transcendent Realm 7th level peak warrior fled in disarray. The trio knew Yi Shiwen had attained a breakthrough, but they didn't expect him to become so strong after the breakthrough. He was different from before. Most people couldn't imagine it. They even wanted to peel off Yi Zaiwen's skin to see if it was still Yi Shiwen inside. "We can't let him escape," reminded Xiong Jichen quickly at this time. But even if he didn't say anything, Yi Shiwen wouldn't let the enemy go. He immediately caught up with him with a stride. It was only a moment's effort that he had caught up with Yi Rui. Without holding off, he beheaded the opponent with a slash. After slaying Yi Rui, all the aura of Yi Zaiwen's body gradually converged. He was unlike an unsheathed sword, but more like a sword that had hidden all the edges. He had become another person now, unlike the heroic him just now. It was like having two completely different vibes appearing in one person, which was quite difficult for all three of them to accept it so abruptly. Yi Shiwen, who had ascended to the Transcendent Realm 4th level peak, did not need a long time to consolidate like the others to gain full control of this power. Therefore, he would not worry about whether he might regress like ordinary people after just attaining a breakthrough. Although this possibility was minute for the bigger crowd, it was still a concern they should not be undermined. Once it happened, it could not be undone. Yi Zaiwen's expression had not changed. Killing Yi Rui was nothing to him. Yi Rui was strong. If Yi Shiwen did not attain Transcendent Realm 4th level's peak, Yi Rui might become a strong rival. However, it would not be much of a threat after gaining the 4th level's peak state. In the Transcendent Realm 7th level, among the experts Yi Shiwen had ever encountered, only Baiyin might make him go all out for the battle. Previously, Yi Shiwen had no bearing in combating Baiyin. If he hadn't relied on Tyrant Body and Phoenix Regeneration Technique, he would have died long ago. He knew this very well too. Only now could he have peace of mind and confidence to win Baiyin if the battle were to occur again. Baiyin with an awakened demon god bloodline was terrifying. Yi Shiwen looked at Xiong Jiqing, Yu Cixi, and Bai Hanmo. Although he had been in close cultivation, he still left some part of his spiritual consciousness to the outside world. That was to stay vigilant, and not be attacked by others. Therefore, Yi Shiwen witnessed what they did clearly. If the trio did not intervene when Yi Shiwen was in close cultivation, it would be impossible to achieve the current significant progress. These people did live up to his trust and gritted their teeth until the close cultivation was over, especially Bai Hanmo. Yi Shiwen found his performance admirable. Even Yi Shiwen did not expect that Bai Hanmo could go this far. He was committed to fighting to the death. Bai Hanmo's temperament also seemed to have undergone earth-shaking changes. Although he still had the careless vibe, it gave off a sharp essence. This was what Bai Hanmo had always lacked. Everything was too easy for him in the past. Due to this, he gave off a feeling that his potential was untapped despite the outstanding talent. In other words, it was like he was wasting his talent. If this were to continue, his talent would be used up one day. A person's talent was limited, but his talent did not entirely determine a person's achievement. This applied to many people. Their achievements were far beyond their talent, as they said you couldn't judge the book by its cover. Some had wholly wasted their talents, and did not achieve incredible feats. What Bai Hanmo lacked was an adventure like this. After gaining these experiences, he could genuinely manifest his talents. Of course, the most important thing was that he seemed to have found his heart. He only could be strong but did not have the strong heart to match it. Yi Shiwen had seen a lot of people like this. They were those who gave up when things went wrong. However, Bai Hanmo's performance this time was impressive. With Bai Hanmo's talent, his future achievements were limitless if he were to work hard. Although he was bothered with Bai Hanmo acting too close to him, it didn't feel bad after a long time. At least this kid did not have bad intentions. Anyway, you all have worked hard, complimented Yi Shiwen. The group did not abandon Yi Shiwen at the moment like this, which moved Yi Shiwen to accept them from the bottom of his heart. He took a step forward and treated Yucisi. Among these people, Yucici's injury was the most serious, while Bai Hanmo's situation was the most optimistic. Yi Shiwen didn't know Bai Hanmo's recovery martial art techniques. It only took a while for Bai Hanmo to recover for a large part, at least not in the state of being seriously injured and dying. Xiong Jiqing on the side looked at Yucisi, worried. He Yulong was dead. Among the two bear team's successors, only Yucisi was left. He could no longer afford to lose the other one. But fortunately, Yi Zaiwen's Phoenix regeneration technique was indeed magical. It didn't take long before Yucisi had restored to a ruddy complexion. Her chi was quickly restored too. Thank you. Yucisi heaved a breath and said with vigor. At this time, she understood why Yi Shiwen was able to contend with Bai Yin and eventually kill Bai Yin. The recovery speed was unprecedented. It could even be said to be unheard of. With such a recovery speed, coupled with a tyrannical physique, this was the trump card that contended with Bai Yin. This was the only reason. You're welcome. It should be me thanking you, replied Yi Shiwen. It was not troublesome for him to treat her. Soon Yi Shiwen helped Xiong Jiqing and Bai Hanmo with their injuries. Since Yi Shiwen had exposed his capability in this aspect beforehand, he did not mind it any further. Anyway, the team only knew he had a great recovery technique, but none knew its details. Xiong Jiqing and Yucisi were delighted. They had been in Chaos Demon Sea for many years. Of course, they knew how important a good recovery martial art technique was in a place like Chaos Demon Sea. It was because Chaos Demon Sea was too chaotic. So many times they had no time to rest before going for the next battle. It was an essential concern on whether they could recover their combat strength. If Yi Shiwen was with them, they didn't need to worry too much about this issue. They had seen with their own eyes that Yi Shiwen had fully recovered to the peak in just a few moments. Regarding this, they were amazed. When it was their teammates' ability, then they were left with a huge surprise. After a little rest, everyone entered short close cultivation and began to digest the experience and gains brought about by this battle. Although the battle was dangerous this time, with their lives endangered, it was fruitful. The experience of wandering by the death door was not something that ordinary cultivation could bring. Only in such constant battles could a breakthrough be attained. But this time, Yishiwen didn't enter close cultivation. He had already ascended to Transcendent Realm 4th level peak. It wasn't quite effective to engage in another one. If Yishiwen wanted to break through, he would need to rely on actual combat. Therefore, he did not choose to continue close cultivation but began his adventure in this sea region while waiting for Yao Qian to come out of her close cultivation. Chapter 933. Chapter 933. The Prince's Trail. He knew very well that when Yao Qian came out of close cultivation again, she must break through and enter the Transcendent Realm's 7th level. The longer the time, the stronger her foundation. Procedurally, the stronger she would become in the future. So he was not in a hurry and waited slowly. The scope of the battle had also been expanded bit by bit. The sea demon experts and demonic sea beasts encountered had become more and more powerful. As Yishiwen ventured deeper, the danger had also increased dramatically. In the entire Chaos Demon Sea, a circle radiates outward. Generally speaking, the more inside one was, the greater the danger it would be, and vice versa. Even in the depths of Chaos Demon Sea, there was a terrible existence beyond the Transcendent Realm. The law manifestation existences. Because of the law manifestation existence of the Sea Demon clans, the Chaos Demon Sea became a huge deal in the Endless Sea region. These Sea Demon clans and Sea Beasts had become a stubborn existence. They scattered in the Endless Chaos Demon Sea. Above the Endless Sea region, countless spiritual energy and demon aura collide and converge in the sky, creating stormy winds and waves. There was no calm nor peace at every moment. Intense sea breezes were reoccurring. Ordinary people couldn't survive against monstrous sea waves. Therefore, in Chaos Demon Sea, there was no ordinary life. Even creatures below Transcendent Realm did not exist. The creatures below Transcendent Realm could not survive in such a place. Demon aura collided fiercely with spiritual energy at every moment. Except for the Sea Demon clan and demonic sea beasts born with half-demon blood, ordinary humans and sea races could not survive unless they attained Transcendent Realm or higher. Once the demon aura and spiritual energy were both inhaled, the mutual repulsion was enough to cause the expert below Transcendent Realm to explode and die. The great sage warriors would face doom here. But for Yishiwen, it did not affect at all. This place was even better for him than a normal half-demon. With the Tianyuan mirror, those violent demon auras would become his nourishment that could not pose any threat to him. As Yishiwen killed the nearby sea demons, his area of activities became wider and wider. However, he left a ray of spiritual senses near the place where everyone was in closed cultivation. Once something happened, he could come back in time. However, as he killed all the nearby demonic sea beasts, it was unlikely that any demonic sea beasts would continue to come here. So even if Yishiwen left for a long time, no demonic sea beasts would dare to come close. There were too many demonic sea beasts perishing here. They could instinctively perceive the danger. Above the Endless Sea region, a figure flew out over the sea region. The aura barrier on his body was like a sharp sword aura. He broke apart the tidal waves. These waves posed no hindrance to him at all. Yishiwen suddenly felt an oppressing figure flying in the sky at a distance. He plunged into the sea without any hesitation and converged all his aura. His aura convergence martial art was significantly improved countless times. Unless it were a head-on encounter, it would not be easy to detect his aura. For an elite warrior, it was better to believe in spiritual consciousness and perception rather than very own eyes. Everyone had the same consensus. Even Yishiwen relied more on spiritual senses to detect the dangers around him. After converging all his aura, Yishiwen scanned ahead with his spiritual senses immediately. He stared into the air but saw 5 vanishing shadow poisonous crocodile clan experts fly at the sky. For other sea clans, Yishiwen might have mistaken them. After all, they were different clans, and there were too many clan groups among the sea race. However, Yishiwen would not mistake any of the vanishing shadow poisonous crocodile clan. There was arguably hatred as deep as the sea between him and them. Since he came to the ancient Baron's continent, it was as if he had signed up to be the vanishing shadow poisonous crocodile clan's nemesis. There were no ways to recuperate the relationship on two sides. Yi Shiwen frowned slightly. How could the vanishing shadow poisonous crocodile clan's member appear here? Could it be that Crown Prince Crocodile is also here? Thinking of this, Yi Shiwen couldn't help but feel nervous. He also learned that Crown Prince Crocodile was also in Chaos Demon Sea from the memories of the vanishing shadow poisonous crocodile clan experts whom he beheaded. He knew that Crown Prince Crocodile was having the adventure to train himself in Chaos Demon Sea. Among the young experts in the entire flourished Cloud Sea region, all of them flooded this training place fanatically. Some were in close cultivation, but most went out for an adventure. After all, the new Top 100 competition was about to begin. Perhaps for the majority, they had no obsession with this list. Some of them had other life baggage that prevented them from focusing on their cultivation. But for more people, being able to appear on the Top 100 list was a supreme honor. For Crown Prince Crocodile, it was natural that he would not only be satisfied with leaving his name on the Top 100 list. There was only one goal, and that was to win the championship. In other words, to become the number one among the younger experts of the flourished Cloud Sea region. Although this statement seemed a bit arrogant, he was the vanishing shadow poisonous crocodile clan's crown prince. He had status, strength, and youth. It was the age when he was the most ambitious. Although he was tyrannical and rarely had a worthwhile opponent among the younger generation, he was not peerless for Crown Prince Crocodile. Therefore, he must compete in the Top 100 competition. He would muster all he got to improve his strength. Chaos Demon Sea was an excellent medium to bring himself to the next level. Some other young experts were also trying their best to temper themselves, such as Yao Qian and Yi Shiwen. Naturally, Crown Prince Crocodile was no exception. No one wanted to give up at this time, and no one would slack off. It was just that Yi Shiwen only heard that Crown Prince Crocodile appeared in Chaos Demon Sea, but he didn't know where Crown Prince Crocodile ventured in Chaos Demon Sea. The Chaos Demon Sea was a tremendous place. It was so big that it was comparable to the South region. In this kind of place, unless the location was known in advance, the probability of finding a particular person was low. Naturally, it was even less likely for Yi Shiwen to look for Crown Prince Crocodile. He would rather be far away from Crown Prince Crocodile than to approach him. Once both sides met, it was bound to be an extremely fierce battle. Yi Ziwen's current strength was clear as day inferior to Crown Prince Crocodile. Yi Shiwen initially thought that he might not encounter Crown Prince Crocodile even until he left this place. However, it was a surprise to see vanishing shadow poisonous crocodile clan experts here. In other words, Crown Prince Crocodile could be near here. Thinking of this, Yi Shiwen was shocked and nervous. But after thinking about it, he quietly tailed the group from the sea bottom. He locked his spiritual senses on them firmly. Since Yi Shiwen was careful enough, he was not discovered. Yi Shiwen was also curious about these vanishing shadow poisonous crocodile clan experts. Why did the experts come here? Was there any conspiracy? This should lead to some significant discoveries. If this were the case, Yi Shiwen would try his best to ruin their plans. Treating the enemy kindly is cruelty to oneself. Yi Shiwen believed in this creed. His only treatment to these vanishing shadow poisonous crocodile clan experts was maximizing damage. He believed that if the vanishing shadow poisonous crocodile clan experts were in his shoe, they would not let him slip. Until now, the vanishing shadow poisonous crocodile clan experts were still pursuing Yi Shiwen everywhere. So for them, there was no need for pleasantries anymore. Yi Shiwen followed them for hundreds of kilometers. Finally, there was a vanishing shadow poisonous crocodile clan expert who couldn't help it. He first said, "I wonder why the prince has summoned us this time." Yi Ziwen's heart suddenly tensed up when he heard this. It is indeed related to the prince. In other words, the prince should be near this place. Thinking of this, his aura convergence martial art ran intensely. All his auras were hidden. If the prince suddenly appeared at this time, he had a high risk of being discovered. By that time, it would be a dead end. I don't know. Now that the prince is doing things more and more mysterious, how can we guess what the prince's goal is? The Vanishing Shadow Poisonous Crocodile Clan expert next to the first one said impatiently. That being said, the prince is destined to be the next Vanishing Shadow Poisonous Crocodile Clan chief in the future. No one can stop him. There are some brats in the clan challenging the prince. They are courting death. They dare to be so presumptuous because they don't know how powerful the prince is. In recent years, the prince's main focus is on the outside battle, so he ignores these challengers. Otherwise, he would have killed them all. But I heard that the prince seems to have discovered a great treasure this time. Chapter 934. Chapter 934 Blend In. What treasure? The Vanishing Shadow Poisonous Crocodile Clan member asked, seemingly curious. Rumors said that there is a great demon sealed within the depths of Chaos Demon Sea in our flourished Cloud Sea region. The aura exuded from the great demon formed the Chaos Demon Sea. Crown Prince Crocodile discovers the treasure left by this demon. Yishiwen breathed in cold air when listening. This news was too shocking. The Chaos Demon Sea manifested because a great demon was sealed within. In fact, the Chaos Demon Sea was tremendous. No one could figure out clearly how big this area was. It had been situated in this flourished Cloud Sea region for many years. Suddenly, someone told him that a great demon was sealed here, thus forming this place. In other words, this great demon was way too horrifying. There were probably more experts in demon domain than he had imagined, far exceeded the perception he had when he was in true martial domain. At true martial domain, the strongest was nothing more than a transcendent realm powerhouse, but sheer numbers of transcendent realm powerhouse could not create such a large-scale Chaos Demon Sea. This demon had way exceeded the transcendent realm caliber. Even the law manifestation experts could not achieve this feat. No one knew what kind of terrifying expert was buried in this place. Now, many experts besides us have received the news. That's why the prince hurriedly summoned us. He must seize the first opportunity in this matter. If the prince obtains the treasure, he won't have any problem to face the Transcendent Realm 9th level experts, and even the Law Manifestation experts too. The Vanishing Shadow Poisonous Crocodile Clan expert continued. At that time, with a hero like Prince emerged, the days for us to become the overlord of the flourished Cloud Sea region won't be far. That's right. Overlord? Keep dreaming. Yishiwen sneered. It would be fine for them if Yishiwen didn't know about it. Since Yishiwen knew their plan, he would not allow them to have a smooth sail on this. Yishiwen decided to ruin Crown Prince Crocodile's treasure hunt. Crown Prince Crocodile at Transcendent Realm 8th level was already difficult to deal with. If this enemy ascended to Transcendent Realm 9th level, it would be too great of a gap. At present, the top few experts of the younger generation were Transcendent Realm 8th level without exception. It was not that they could not enter the Transcendent Realm 9th level. They wanted to consolidate their foundation beforehand. It would be too late if they only considered so at the Transcendent Realm 9th level. Whoever felt that he had laid an adequate foundation first, and had made up all the previous deficiencies would try for the breakthrough. Immediately, Yishiwen made a decision. He chased directly and left a note to Yao Qian with spiritual senses. When they came out, they would see Yi Zaiwen's message. Compared to the previous situation, Bai Hanmo, Xiong Jiqing, and others had not entered the deep close cultivation. They could exit that state at any time. If there was any problem, they could also deal with it. After leaving a message, Yishiwen immediately followed up without any hesitation. Yishiwen stayed at the seabed and flew with these Vanishing Shadow Poisonous Crocodile Clan warriors for a day. There were so many vicious demonic sea beasts and sea demon clans in Chaos Demon Sea, so these Vanishing Shadows Poisonous Crocodile Clan warriors also experienced a series of tough battles before they could move in the predetermined direction. As they got closer and closer to the center, they encountered more and more demonic sea beasts or sea demon clans opponents. Several tense battles also took place. However, these vanishing shadow poisonous crocodile clan warriors beheaded the opponents in the end. But what they didn't know was that Yi Shiwen was also credited for this. Whenever they almost couldn't stand it, Yi Shiwen secretly scared away those demonic sea beasts. They would never have imagined it would be Yi Shiwen saving them in the end, and even secretly. Yi Shiwen couldn't afford to let them die. If they died, then he would lose this clue. For Yi Shiwen to find it on himself, it would undoubtedly waste a long time. However, despite wasting one day's worth of time, Yi Shiwen still didn't see the meeting place. However, as they got closer and closer to the predestined meeting place, Yi Shiwen noticed more and more experts heading to the meeting place. These experts were all the vanishing shadow poisonous crocodile clan warriors too. It appeared that these vanishing shadow poisonous crocodile clan experts in Chaos Demon Sea were all gathering here. The vanishing shadow poisonous crocodile clan, one of the three primary forces of the Flourish Cloud Sea Regency clan, had instructed many experts on this occasion. Although many forces' boundaries had begun to blur in Chaos Demon Sea, many experts would even cooperate with others. Though, the primary condition was that they were not a nemesis. However, the vanishing shadow poisonous crocodile clan was one of the clan groups with the most experts. The vanishing shadow poisonous crocodile clan experts that were initially scattered were all gathered. What a huge crowd! Those who learned about this occasion could not help but feel amazed at the vanishing shadow poisonous crocodile clan's strength. With this, it was apparent that the vanishing shadow poisonous crocodile clan lived up to the name as experts' gathering grounds. Some experts had never surfaced in the public eyes too. They had all gathered due to the prince's summon. Yi Shiwen noticed almost all of these vanishing shadow poisonous crocodile clan experts were at Transcendent Realm 5th level or 6th level. A minority of the group was Transcendent Realm 7th level experts, let alone Transcendent Realm 8th level and even Transcendent Realm 9th level. It showed that Crown Prince Crocodile's status was not too exaggerated yet. Those Transcendent Realm 8th level experts in the vanishing shadow poisonous crocodile clan seemed not to heed the prince's position at all. Those experts who cultivated to Transcendent Realm 7th level or higher were equivalent to Transcendent Realm late or higher. These talents were once brilliant young experts whose words carried a lot of weight. They were headstrong in their heart. Even if it was a young expert like Crown Prince Crocodile, who had been famous for many years, none of his words could move them. Unless the senior law manifestation expert made a move, it was difficult to order these stubborn warriors. Some of them had backers behind them, allowing them to ignore the prince completely. Many warriors which the prince recruited aren't here. They merely have a death wish. Do they think the prince is kind-hearted? It seems that they have forgotten that the prince showed his majesty by killing some disobedient bunch. Someone was Crown Prince Crocodile's loyal supporter. When he saw this scene, he was irritated. Crown Prince Crocodile was like a deity in his heart. These warriors dared to stand Crown Prince Crocodile up openly. It was unforgivable for him. Which of those warriors are not prideful talents, or have a strong backer behind them? Some of them even dare to disrespect elderly predecessor. Seeing this scene, someone sneered. They will regret it one day. Sooner or later, the prince will rule the world. By that time, they will be dead. The vanishing shadow poisonous crocodile clan expert said with a sneer. What happened was the power struggle between those belonging to the Crown Prince's faction and those who weren't. Those gathered here were experts standing at the Crown Prince's side. Yi Shiwen watched the whole scene unfold. In any case, those fighting here were his enemies. Qi circulated Yi Zaiwen's body that was submerged in water. Under the mobilization of this qi, his figure gradually changed. He turned into a vanishing shadow poisonous crocodile clan expert. His eyes became crocodile-like. Gazing from a distance, Yi Shiwen was simply a vanishing shadow poisonous crocodile clan expert with a thin body shape. His aura had become no different to the vanishing shadow poisonous crocodile clan experts. His aura convergence martial arts skills were advanced. He deduced the vanishing shadow poisonous crocodile aura accurately, making himself indistinguishable from them. At this time, he appeared convincing to have the Vanishing Shadow Poisonous Crocodile Clan expert identity. He directly left the Vanishing Shadow Poisonous Crocodile Clan's parade and darted to another sea region. Then, he came back pretending to be a Vanishing Shadow Poisonous Crocodile Clan expert who had just rushed over from a distance. He directly joined the queue with hundreds of Vanishing Shadow Poisonous Crocodile Clan experts. Some of them were baffled by Yi Zaiwen's inferior cultivation. After all, he was in Transcendent Realm 4th level. However, his disguise was beyond doubt. There was an abundance of Vanishing Shadow Poisonous Crocodile Clan experts in this Chaos Demon Sea. The clan member couldn't have seen every one of their kin. It was also not surprising that warriors had close cultivation for hundreds of years in Chaos Demon Sea and even thousands of years. It was just that Yi Zaiwen's strength was indeed a bit inferior. With this opportunity, Yi Shiwen successfully blended into Vanishing Shadow Poisonous Crocodile Clan's experts' ranks. Quick, everyone! The prince is waiting for us at the front. We have to hurry to meet with the prince. This time, the treasure belongs to our Vanishing Shadow Poisonous Crocodile Clan. No one can steal it! At this time, someone among the clan group shouted, exciting the entire parade. The sole purpose of these warriors gathered here was to heed the prince's command. Some were loyal supporters, while some had a more neutral stance. Chapter 935. Chapter 935. The poisonous young master Yi Shiwen secretly thought. It appeared that the prince was not the leading one among the Vanishing Shadow Poisonous Crocodile Clan. That was why Ying did not put the prince in his eyes blatantly. They were the leading figures among the younger generation. There was probably a power level gap, but it was more often depicted as an age gap. The road ahead was still very long. There could be a relatively large gap now, but they would be on the same line after a few hundred years. By that time, no one could be certain who would become stronger. The cultivation of a martial artist was a lifetime affair. Winning or losing in a short period was nothing. No one would be brooding because of falling behind temporarily, let alone those prideful talents. They would never surrender because of this. Even though Crown Prince Crocodile had declared his reign harshly in the Vanishing Shadow Poisonous Crocodile Clan, there were still many dissatisfied clan members. After all, many Vanishing Shadow Poisonous Crocodile Clan experts were similarly arrogant. The power struggle was everywhere, it was just different in scale. Hidden among the crowd, Yi Shiwen looked inconspicuous. He appeared ordinary. Vanishing Shadow Poisonous Crocodile Clan. No flying ahead! Suddenly, an arrogant voice came from afar. Many Vanishing Shadow Poisonous Crocodile Clan experts looked intently one after another. Another group flew over from the other side of the sea. Seeing the appearance of these warriors, these Vanishing Shadow Poisonous Crocodile Clan experts suddenly changed their expressions. This group had dark skin that was densely covered with small black scales. Poisonous Flaming Dragon Clan! A Vanishing Shadow Poisonous Crocodile Clan expert stared at this group coldly. Poisonous Flaming Dragon Clan. Yi Shiwen suddenly remembered 3 prominent Sea Clan forces and 3 central human clan forces, making up a total of 6 forces in the flourished Cloud Sea region. The Vanishing Shadow Poisonous Crocodile Clan was only one of the 3 primary Sea Clans. There were 2 other Sea Clans comparable to the Vanishing Shadow Poisonous Crocodile Clan. Among them was this Poisonous Flaming Dragon Clan. Among the various Sea Clans, the Poisonous Flaming Dragon Clan was unique. Although they were in the sea region, they had a unique inborn dragon flame. This dragon flame would set ablaze when in contact with the seawater. The longer it burned, the stronger it became. The dragon flame was outstanding. But they merely proclaimed themselves as the Dragon Clan. Everyone knew that they were at best a sub-dragon race with a trace of dragon blood. The dragon was much more common in the ancient Barrens continent than in the true martial domain. In the true martial domain, the dragon clans belonged to the legendary clan, but it was not mysterious in the ancient Barrens continent. Everyone knew that a legendary dragon island inhabited a large number of dragons. In fact, due to the lustful nature of dragons, many clan groups had sub-dragon species. Even among human clans, there were many wyverians. Among sea clans, there were plenty of sea clans imbued with dragon blood. These bloodlines had long been a mess. There were already too many sub-dragon races for those dragon clans that they didn't even have a clear picture of these races themselves. These races could consider themselves in other clan groups but also be regarded as dragon clans too. It wasn't too surprising. Though, it was still Yi Zaiwen's first time to encounter a sub-dragon race among the sea clans. After hearing the legend about the poisonous flaming dragon clan and linking their dragon clan bloodlines matter, he found it quite astonishing. It was a miracle that they who used fire attribute martial arts had become one of the overlord clans. As one of the 3 overlords of this flourished Cloud Sea region, the relationship between Vanishing Shadow Poisonous Crocodile Clan and Poisonous Flaming Dragon Clan was naturally not much better. It was fair to see it pessimistically. The competition between the major forces of human clans focused on development. On the other hand, the competition between these sea clans focused solely on cutthroat battles. The flourished Cloud Sea region was vast. It was still not enough for so many hegemonic forces. If it weren't for the human clans having the spheres of influence above the sea, while the sea clans were mostly under the sea, the fight between the 2 clan races had already become overwhelming and beyond control. In fact, in addition to the flourished Cloud Sea region, there were battles between many human clans and sea clans that were abnormally bloody and cruel. What do your poisonous flaming dragon clan want? At this time, a Transcendent Realm 7th level Vanishing Shadow Poisonous Crocodile Clan expert stood up and said in a stern voice. Although the relationship between the Vanishing Shadow Poisonous Crocodile Clan and the Poisonous Flaming Dragon Clan was terrible, they would usually pay more attention to avoiding large-scale confrontation. If several people ran into each other individually, then an immense fight would take place. However, with both sides having hundreds of experts present, and worse still, all were top-class experts in the clan, a large-scale battle would alert both sides' higher-ups. Excuse me. This is already a no-fly zone. You should take a detour. The poisonous flaming dragon clan takes charge of this place for a 5,000 kilometers radius. At this time, a young poisonous flaming dragon clan member with an ordinary appearance walked out slothfully. He didn't put the Vanishing Shadow Poisonous Crocodile Clan experts in his eyes. What a joke! I never heard of someone occupying the Chaos Demon Sea. The Transcendent Realm 7th level Vanishing Shadow Poisonous Crocodile Clan expert sneered and said disdainfully. When I say so, then there is, said the Poisonous Flaming Dragon Clan lazily, but the oppressive tone was beyond doubt. What do you think you are? The Vanishing Shadow Poisonous Crocodile Clan expert of Transcendent Realm 7th level sneered and said, looking at the Dragon Clan youth. The Poisonous Flaming Dragon Clan youth had his eyes flickered slightly. It was an astonishing killing intent. He instantly rushed towards the Vanishing Shadow Poisonous Crocodile Clan expert. Schwa! As his figure flickered, he instantly appeared in front of the Vanishing Shadow Poisonous Crocodile Clan expert. With his 5 fingers closed tightly, his hand chops summoned a blood-red hue while in midair. He beheaded Transcendent Realm 7th level Vanishing Shadow Poisonous Crocodile Clan expert directly. His arm was still stained with the Vanishing Shadow Poisonous Crocodile Clan expert's blood. His slender and dark fingers slid between his lips. He licked slightly. A faint, distorted pleasure flashed across his face. There was only the sound of the sea breeze blowing the waves between heaven and the earth. Everyone was stunned, especially the Vanishing Shadow Poisonous Crocodile Clan experts. They stared at the scene in front of them, stupefied. That was a Transcendent Realm 7th level expert. Even among the Vanishing Shadow Poisonous Crocodile Clan, there were not many experts at that level. They were powerhouses holding significant power in a territory. They were utterly different from Transcendent Realm's 6th level and had entered Vanishing Shadow Crocodile clan high ranks. Although they were not the leaders among the higher ranks of the Vanishing Shadow Poisonous Crocodile clan, it was shocking to see one killed with no chance of fighting back. Who the hell is this unbelievable young man in front of me? The poisonous young master. He is the poisonous young master. At this moment, someone among the quiet Vanishing Shadow Poisonous Crocodile clan experts recognized the unfathomable youth. Immediately, the crowd gasped in cold air. The poisonous young master is one of the poisonous Flaming Dragon clan's poisonous twins. Oh my God, why do we meet with a disaster like him? How terrible is our luck to encounter him here. Many Vanishing Shadow Poisonous Crocodile clan experts were sighing. They felt desperate to encounter this disastrous expert. Is the poisonous young master popular? Yi Shiwen asked a Vanishing Shadow Poisonous Crocodile clan expert next to him. You don't even know him? Said the Vanishing Shadow Poisonous Crocodile clan expert unexpectedly. I have been staying in close cultivation on Chaos Demon Sea all year round. Am not quite familiar with the younger generation experts emerged now, explained Yi Shiwen. That expert didn't have much doubt. After all, there were cases of close cultivation involving thousands of years. For a warrior with spectacular longevity, few generations had passed. It was not anything surprising. One could meet a senior who had close cultivation for thousands of years randomly. For the martial artist, these situations were common. The poisonous young master is one of the two prominent poisonous Flaming Dragon clan young experts. We are indeed recognized as one of the 3 flourished Cloud Sea region overlords similar to them. However, the poisonous Flaming Dragon clan is the leading clan. In my entire life, I have witnessed 2 emerging young experts of the poisonous Flaming Dragon clan, the poisonous young master and the flaming young master, respectively. Both of them are peerless geniuses among, not inferior to the crown prince of our clan. With that said, the Vanishing Shadow Poisonous Crocodile clan expert sighed. It was undeniable that the poisonous Flaming Dragon clan was the strongest. Just solely on the younger generation situation, there was only one crown prince crocodile, while the poisonous Flaming Dragon clan had 2 elite princes comparable to the crown prince. The poisonous young master is proficient in poison arts. To test his new poison art, the creatures in the sea region up to thousands of miles were poisoned to death all at once. It wasn't pleasant. The flaming young master, who has not shown up today, is formidable too. They said that his flame could burn the sea up to thousands of miles endlessly for 3 days and 3 nights. It is still fine to meet with the flaming young master. Unfortunately, the poisonous young master is cruel. None provoked him will meet a good end. If he wants to stop us here, then we have no way to get past, said the expert depressedly. The surrounding Vanishing Shadow Poisonous Crocodile clan experts also sighed. None dared to rush up anymore. The poisonous young master's cruelty intimidated them. Chapter 936. Chapter 936, Sealed Sight. Little poisonous bug, you dare to kill my Vanishing Shadow Poisonous Crocodile clan expert? Humph! A cold shout came from a distance. A figure descended from the sky with tremendous momentum and appeared in front of everyone. The Crown Prince is here! The first person who noticed the Crown Prince said in surprise. Everyone looked up delightfully. All of these warriors came here at the prince's order. They were the prince's loyal supporters, or at least people who were inclined to Crown Prince Crocodile's side. As they saw the appearance of Crown Prince Crocodile, they were overjoyed. Humph! Crown Prince Crocodile snorted coldly, looking at the poisonous young master with a rather cold gaze. These people could be regarded as the backbone he would utilize to fight for power in the future, especially the Transcendent Realm's 7th level expert. It would be tough to replenish any shortage of these experts. As the poisonous young master killed one, he was infuriated. I'm just lecturing your dog for you. Facing the aggressive Crown Prince Crocodile, the poisonous young master didn't care at all but sneered. He didn't put the vanishing shadow poisonous crocodile clan whom he killed in his eye. It would be a joke to say that he had any kindness for a person who could poison all the creatures within a radius of 10,000 miles to death. Among these warriors, he only put Crown Prince Crocodile in his eyes, which he regarded as equal footing. The others were just mere ants for him. Some meals can be eaten indiscriminately, and some things can't be spoken indiscriminately, warned the poisonous young master lightly. After saying that, he shut his mouth. He didn't plan to explain further. In fact, if it weren't Crown Prince Crocodile pressing the question on him, he would not even bother explaining since the group did not qualify to make him do so. Even if my dog makes a mistake, you don't have the right to lecture them, retorted Crown Prince Crocodile coldly. His face was slightly ashen. As the Crown Prince, when did he suffer a grievance at his level? He had always been the one bullying others, but the poisonous young master in front of him was different. It was even more difficult to be dealt with in comparison to the unparalleled sword. Although the unparalleled sword was tricky, it was only one foe. He could not start a fight as he desired. However, it was a different case for the poisonous young master. He had a backer that was even more terrifying than the vanishing shadow poisonous crocodile clan. All of these considerations prevented him from arbitrarily attacking the poisonous young master. Whatever! The poisonous young master yawned as if he didn't care about Crown Prince Crocodile's threat. TSK. Did you assemble your clan expert to a hell march? Humph, don't be nosy. Crown Prince Crocodile didn't want to reveal any information to the poisonous young master. He replied in a cold voice and then commanded his vanishing shadow poisonous crocodile clan experts. Let's go! The poisonous flaming dragon clan experts did not stop the vanishing shadow poisonous crocodile clan experts from leaving. Since Crown Prince Crocodile had arrived, they had no way to stop it. Among the younger generation's top experts, the poisonous young master and Crown Prince Crocodile were both top-ranked existences. Both sides did not have a reason to engage in a cutthroat battle yet. As they probed each other's strength, their knowledge against each other did not suffice for an advantageous battle. Yishuan followed these vanishing shadow poisonous crocodile clan experts, and went past the poisonous flaming dragon clan. Those poisonous flaming dragon clan members stared at the crocodile clan coldly, and didn't do anything else. Everyone in the vanishing shadow poisonous crocodile clan flew for a long journey. The team's atmosphere was still solemn. Due to the poisonous flaming dragon clan encounter just now, everyone's mood was dull. Crown Prince, where are we heading this time? At this time, one of the experts finally mustered the courage to ask. Everyone could see that Crown Prince Crocodile was in a rather foul mood. It only calmed down a little bit. In the face of these experts who might become his foundation in the future, Crown Prince Crocodile did not conceal it. He turned around and glanced across the crowd. However, when he saw Yishuan, he was a little startled. He did not expect a Transcendent Realm 4th level warrior would participate. In this Chaos Demon Sea, the Transcendent Realm 4th level could only protect itself. It was just a faint surprise before the Crown Prince directed his gaze elsewhere. This time, someone found the demon's sealed site in the depths of Chaos Demon Sea. According to our investigation, the demon's sealed site is the root cause of the Chaos Demon Sea's manifestation, Crown Prince Crocodile said in a deep voice. They said that there is an ancient battlefield inside. The ancient battlefield was left behind when the demon was sealed, slowly forming a sealed site. Hearing what Crown Prince Crocodile said, everyone was a little surprised. It turned out to be an ancient battlefield. The harvest in it would be indispensable. Ancient battlefields often had all kinds of loot, like treasures and superb martial art techniques. Needless to say, those ancient and superb martial art techniques were more potent than what the current world could offer. Any of the ancient martial art techniques would help a warrior soar to the sky in the future. The dead experts might also have left behind various magic treasures on them. Possessing any one of them through a refinement process could escalate one's strength to the next level. The progression was faster in comparison to harvesting ancient martial art techniques. Not to mention the wondrous treasures, most of those who died on ancient battlefield were top experts. After they die, their flesh and blood could manifest incredible treasure. Even their flesh and blood were already rare treasures, ingredients that would be rare to obtain. Thinking of this, everyone's breathing became heavier. Some warriors who had received the news a long time ago couldn't help but nod their heads. Sure enough, just like the news they had received early in the morning, it was indeed an ancient battlefield. Ancient battlefield. Yi Shiwen thought to himself secretly. Fierce battles happen almost every moment in this world. With terrifying war breaking out, the number of deaths soared. The deceased, at a long time later, might possibly form an ancient battlefield. The same applied to the true martial domain. However, the ancient battlefield in the true martial domain had no way to compare with the ancient battlefield on the ancient Baron's continent. However, these ancient battlefields might be a good opportunity, but at the same time the marching to hell. Some warriors had gained countless wealth from them, but more had died tragically in these places. However, the vanishing shadow poisonous crocodile clan, worthy of being one of the 3 flourished Cloud Sea region's overlords, could gather many experts quickly. If it were true martial school, it would be unimaginable to launch a treasure hunt like this. Now, all the major forces have received the news, and they are all coming. However, the opening of that sealed site is quite recent. It is too late to gather more clan members. In addition to you all, there may be Law Manifestation Realm elders who will take part personally, said Crown Prince Crocodile lightly. After this event is over, you will gain many benefits. As long as you can survive, benefits are guaranteed. As for those idiots who refuse to come, there will be nothing for them. Hearing what Crown Prince Crocodile said, everyone immediately condemned the vanishing shadow poisonous crocodile clan experts refused to come. The crowd cheered. For them, this sealed site represented countless opportunities. Although it could be dangerous, no one would feel that they would be the ones suffering the bitter end. They all thought that they would reap significant benefits instead of the others. It was best to have a lesser mouth to feed, let alone reduce the number of shares massively. Yi Shiwen sneered. Crown Prince Crocodile cheered the silly group with a few words. They easily believed that they could get many benefits from it, and they could stand out from the crowd afterward. They had neglected the number of experts who died. Those with inadequate strength only had a one-way ticket. Of course, the strength, in this case, did not solely depend on the sheer cultivation realm but also the ability to preserve one's life and so on. Those poisonous flaming dragon clan experts dare to keep everyone out. It's foolish. We don't do such stupid things. We use our strength to seize the benefits. The prince announced in a deep voice. Yes, that's right. We can't do silly things like the poisonous flaming dragon clan. Yes, indeed. The vanishing shadow poisonous crocodile clan experts echoed. This time, there may be many law manifestation experts who will be alarmed. It isn't our goal to enter the deepest part of the sealed site. There are many loots in the peripheral area. As long as everyone does a good job, I will not keep the reward to myself. Crown Prince Crocodile glanced at the crowd with his crocodile eyes. I wish to serve the prince. Your Highness, we will serve in our best ability. These vanishing shadow poisonous crocodile clan experts announced their loyalty. In order not to appear too conspicuous, Yi Shiwen also pretended to say a few words. He already had a plan deep down in his heart. It appeared that the Case Demon Sea's demon sealed site was divided into internal areas and external areas. At this time, Yi Shiwen finally understood why Crown Prince Crocodile had to bring so many experts. If this Chaos Demon Sea was formed because of the demon sealed here, this sealed site must be chaotic. After all, it was the most central area of the Chaos Demon Sea. Among the visitors here, never mind the Transcendent Realm 9th level warriors, even the Law Manifestation Realm monsters would be here. Crown Prince Crocodile had no way to fend off himself in the face of these terrifying monsters. Those under his lead could become cannon fooders when necessary. Although Crown Prince Crocodile did not say it openly, This should be the case in considerations of the previous poisonous young master's words. If there were any danger at a critical moment, the Crown Prince Crocodile would sacrifice the pawn to protect the king. He wouldn't hesitate to give up his followers. Thinking of this, Yi Shiwen increased his vigilance and swore to be more careful. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.